para la fiesta.
No more YouTube chat for now. For now, we're getting a fix. Probably for a week.
Si la rumba está buena, me quedo.
I'll tell you about it when we start.
Oye, mi güerita, vamos a bailar. Yo sé que tú quieres y te va a gustar. Oye, mi güerita, vamos a bailar. Yo sé que tú quieres y te va a gustar. Oye, mi güerita, vamos a bailar con esta cumbia que te va a gustar. Oye, mi morena, vamos a bailar con esta cumbia que te va a gustar. Ella se excita cuando yo le canto. Me dice que quiere más. Se pone bien loquita cuando yo le entro. Le doy un poquito más. Ella se excita, se excita, se excita. Ella bien bonita, bien bonita, bien bonita. Como lo menea, dame lo que quieras. Ella es una loca, lo hacemos donde quiera. Oye, mi güerita, vamos a bailar. Yo sé que tú quieres y te va a gustar. Oye, mi güerita, vamos a bailar. Yo sé que tú quieres y te va a gustar. Oye, mi güerita, vamos a bailar con esta cumbia que te va a gustar. Oye, mi morena, vamos a bailar con esta cumbia que te va a gustar. Oye, mi güerita, vente mamacita, hago los pasitos bien prohibidos que te excita. Dime si tú quieres, vamos a bailar. Dime si te encanta, vamos a gozar. Ella se excita, se excita, se excita. Ella bien bonita, bien bonita, bien bonita. Como lo menea, dame lo que quieras. Ella es
Yes, this is all live singing. And this is me playing the guitar. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a breaking news alert. Where were you when Trump came out in support of releasing the Epstein files? Pepe, big Pepe there. Those liberal surrender hands out. Yo! What up, everybody? Welcome to the absolute state of things. Did you have a good weekend? Are you happy it's over and you can start a brand new week? Tell me. Tell us now. Who knows where that's from? Why are all my tabs slowing me down? Your week was not special or bad. A likely story. A likely story. Who believes that? Nobody. You just hope Monday's nice to you? Have you just had a bit of a streak of just bad Mondays, Amphibious Orca? Has it just been a little rough Mondays? I've been there. Believe me, I've been there. All right, folks, we got some breaking news I want to talk about, and then I want to review a nice little debate with our good friend Tom Foolery. He always reviews things that I'm on. I notice every now and then. Sometimes I drop in, but I figured it's time to return the favor and score his debate performance. It's against Rob Noor, live and in person. I have no idea how it's going to go. I don't even know what it's about. But it gets the people going. It's tomfoolery. It's Tomtent. It's everyone's favorite thing. But first, we really do need to talk about the updates. Big updates on the MAGA Civil War / Epstein stuff. Give me a second, though, to just close out of some tabs because it's slowing me down. Slowing me the hell down. Rob Noor opening I'm Not Here in Good Faith. Wait, really? Oh, then that should be spicy. Very spicy. We need a big update while you are buckling to the Twitch pressure. Okay. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that first, the chat. So I thought that I could just be very cute and bring the YouTube chat back. But I'm being told by my sources that they're actually starting to, they haven't stopped enforcing the merged chat thing. And so I finally broke down and I got my designer person to like, we're gonna update the layout a little bit of the stream, and we might change a little bit of it too, just how it looks, just to make it a little different. I mean, use the opportunity to make some additional adjustments, but to kind of split it up so that the Twitch chat is in its own box. I talked about doing this before. I just thought maybe, it's a stupid policy. I just don't even understand like why it's around. But I did get like people who were like, you should not do this because it's dangerous. It's dangerous to go alone. It's BS, I say. The rules don't outlaw the combined chat. They do, though. They do. We need to have separate but equal chats. No merged chat. Unfortunate. What a world we live in. I can't make YouTube bigger or superior. They need to be on equal grounds. But yeah, I think that it's gonna be annoying because I don't know, like, it doesn't look good to have, I think, separate chats. And then sometimes the Twitch chat moves slower than the YouTube chat. YouTube and Kick are going to be an integrated chat. Not that I have many Kick viewers, but for the one or two of you that are there and will often comment in the Kick chat, you guys get to be alongside the YouTube. So you guys get to be integrated. It's a little step by step, until Twitch reverses this crazy policy. Have you ever talked to Adam? Yeah, I have talked to Adam Mockler. Actually, I texted him today. But I don't know if we did it live. When we did the when we were doing the New York thing, we invited him as a guest, and I think I was like behind the mic on the like the board with the buttons where the producers sit. 1 second. Let me just. Oh, you demand integration. Separate but equal is never equal. I know. They should definitely change that. Okay, so that's update on the chats. Where are we with anything else? Let me think. Channel stuff. Oh, yeah. We'll eventually get... I thought I was one away from the new YouTube emote to get the liberal surrender hands emote, but I think I'm more. I could have sworn I saw that I was one away, but now it says it's like more to get the new emote, so sorry. Or I could remove an emote that YouTube already has that you don't like and put in the surrender hands. It's not animated, though. That's the one thing that I think YouTube needs to fix their game on. Are the animated GIF emotes. Why don't we have those? Why the hell don't we have those? You think Hutch has combined chats? The thing is, I'm just getting intel that people are getting screwed by that. And like actually banned over it. Or suspended. And so I'm risk averse in that sense. Which sucks because I love the YouTube chat being shown. Now we need to have separate chats, I guess. Whatever, man. Whatever. I'll do it. I'm a rule follower. You can make your own liberal surrender hands emote if you have emojis. But they can both be on screen. That's how I interpret the rules. The reason I interpret the rules that way is because it says merged chat. And of course, the chat isn't like merged. If they're literally separate, how are they merged? Right? So I think that's the common sense definition of the word merge. So that's how I interpret the rules. But I know the enforcement actions have happened with people who have integrated chats like that. And so I'm now going to go where I haven't heard that there's been enforcement actions. But I don't know how people do this. YouTube chatters always left behind because we're the best in spite of this harsh reality. True. You're too shit-faced. God bless you and God bless, Yep. I hear you. Definitely hear you. You just finished the debate with Ryan and Gen Z and wanted to blow my brains out by the end. It was a pretty cool debate, wasn't it? I think they're also doing a React stream, Cope stream with it. I'd be very interested. Maybe we'll take a peek at what they're saying. Because I saw like my face somewhere. I think I saw my face. It's a little surreal seeing my face every now and then on different things in YouTube thumbnails. Not just my own, but from like other people too. Oftentimes like, who's done it? People have done it. Yeah. Connor too. Connor will sometimes put me in the thumbnails. What up, Non-Fun? My debate partner. Great asset in that debate. I thought he had great contributions. don't understand his moral objectivism, but it was useful to have him there to as like a demonstration. See, you can be a leftist and a moral realist. But yeah, that's and then I think I'll post tomorrow a video. Yeah. But I'll definitely be live tomorrow. We're slowly coming back. You're pretty sure my face is briefly in the absurd raging tomato. What? Did you see me there? To be honest, I wasn't really looking. I was just like watching your funny comments in the chat because you guys were all like talking shit about the intro. It's a little much, right? Oh, I also heard that Andrew Wilson, who still won't debate me. Andrew Wilson has started a new like company or venture, and it relates to Rob Noor because Rob is working with Andrew, and it's called World War Debate. Shit name. Like, maybe it'll catch on. What the fuck do I know? I think it's kind of a shit name. What do you think? World War Debate. And the way Rob was selling it when I saw the announcement stream, it was like, this is the premiere, and it's going to be big people, not even me, right? He's like, not even me. This is going to be like, to put an example, it's like DeSantis or something. That's the level of people that'll come. World War Debate. Well, maybe we can see the intro. Oh, maybe I can just show you the thing if you guys haven't seen it. World War Debate. You should have only showed YouTube chat. No, but then that wouldn't be... Oh. No, because that would be making the offer worse. That would violate another rule by Twitch. You get me? You understand what I'm saying? So you can't make the experience worse for Twitch, and you can't merge the chats. So I think if you were to not include the Twitch chat and only do YouTube, I think that would be making the experience worse for Twitch. Yeah, it's a little wild seeing the it's a little... Oh yeah, so the last two streams are gone on Twitch only, Tuvox. If you go to YouTube, they should be there because they have the merged chat there. And so we don't want to violate the rules. But that's why they're not there. But if you go to YouTube, they should be there because there's no rule against that. Where is it? It should be on his feed, right? I imagine that Andrew would put it on his feed. But I don't quite see it. Maybe it's on... Maybe it's on someone else's feed. His wife's feed, maybe? Rachel Wilson. YouTube. What am I, Amish? Yeah, go to the VOD playlist. Sometimes they're like unlisted, but if you go to the playlist, it should definitely be there. Do. Rainer here. Where the fuck is this video? I definitely want you guys to see it. Maybe I'm talking too much shit. Maybe World War Debate is like a... Maybe that's a good name. What do you guys think? World War Debate. Oh, I found the account. It's at World War Debate. But I put that in the fucking X feed. Yeah, now that we know that we're on notice on these like memes, these objective morality memes. Oh, sick, I got it. One sec. Now that we're on notice about the objective morality memes, I'm pretty confident on those memes, on the precept memes.
The enlightenment.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, Dottie. All right. Ready? Sec. It's an awful name, he says. Boom. All right, this is World War Debate. It's giving prestige worldwide.
The Enlightened Network is proud to present Word War Debate, the premier debate league. I'm Ben Swan, and I'm here to introduce the new gold standard of debates. Every statement, every argument, every counterpoint is tested under the lights in real time. Let's send it over now to Andrew Wilson and Sam Tripoli inside the ACX1 studios in Atlantic City. Guys?
What we decided to do was get a great team of people together.
All right. Thoughts so far on the outfit choice? Any thoughts? The angle is, it's a little low. The top of his head. Oh, maybe that's my stream. Okay. All right. That's my bad. So now just work on the, yeah. Look at the outfits. Let's do some fashion analysis. Why is he sitting like that? Looks like he just had sex. Looks like they had gay sex. It gives double chin. Guys, don't make any physical. This is not about physical detraction, okay? Can you quickly define presuppositionalist? Yeah, it's the kind of notion that, like, in order to, it's the view that the way to prove God is because anything other than God, there would be no grounding to intelligibility, the rules of logic. So to even make truth claims, to even make any kind of observation, any kind of argument, depends on the existence of God. That's at least a modern incarnation that, like, I'm familiar with. Is like there could be some other, like, deeper roots or intellectual tradition that I'm not familiar with, but how it manifests in, like, the debate sphere is that it's people who think that even to have this discussion, even to ground logic or to ground intelligibility, it's like wild shit they say, you would need to have God as a foundation. So God is presupposed in even the nature of the conversation. That's the kind of thing, yeah. So it's just stupidity. I don't know if that's like the literal definition of presuppositional, but that's like how it manifests. The way everyone is just liking how he's sitting, but not wanting to say manspreading because it's you can say manspread. All right, let's. So, in terms of the outfit choice, I think Sam Tripoli. I don't like the stances. I kind of do like the glasses, but they're a bit like, I don't know, maybe they don't fit his hair type. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? The neck beard being white kind of gives it like, it kind of makes it look wider than his face probably is. Maybe he should dye the beard. Or get rid of the neck beard. Maybe cut it down a little bit. World War man spread. And the shirt, is this untucked or what? Let's just see if we have any.
Atlantic City, guys.
What?
He looks great, right? Even got like 2 buttons undone. No undershirt.
In Atlantic City, guys.
What we decided to do was get a great team of people together, get one hell of a venue.
What's this, bro? What's this face? Look at the camera. I don't know.
And put together some of the funnest and most riveting.
He's holding the face. I'm not even pausing it. Wait, what is this? Oh, is he disabled? Sorry, I don't watch like Sam Tripoli stuff. Did he have like a? No, wait. Hang on.
Great team of people together, get one hell of a venue, and put together some of the funnest and most riveting debates that you've ever seen. And I'm going to moderate these debates. And this is going to be fantastic.
And if you're lucky, maybe at the end, Andrew might debate. We don't know. Why would we have Michael Jordan sitting beside Kobe?
Sorry.
We don't know. Why would we have Michael Jordan sitting beside Kobe?
They're like, they're doing a skit. They're having a good time. You know what? I'm all for this. They're having a good time. They're goofing. It's like a little skit. It's like fun. I think that this is like a nice, it's campy. It knows it's camp. Sorry. Okay, for those of you who just got here, the YouTube chat will be coming back. I have insiders who told me that they're getting pinged for the share chat, and so I got my designer to. We're finally doing like the separate chats, separate but equal stuff. So, based on my interpretation of the term merged. But I like this little bit. They're showing that they're not afraid to bring some comedy into it. I mean, Sam Tripoli, he's a comedian, right? And but I do have to say, the Michael Jordan of debate, I mean, that's yikes.
And this is going to be fantastic.
And if you're lucky, maybe at the end, Andrew might debate. We don't know. Why would we have Michael Jordan
Nail check.
sitting aside coaching? Why not throw him in the game?
We're going to have the best on, and we're going to put it in the best venue.
There's debates all over the place, but there's no brand of excellence where you go, this is where the best go to bang.
And to that effect, that's exactly what
This is like very porn coded. Like, look at the couches. Look at this. That's where the best go to bang.
It's all over the place, but there's no
And they're like kind of having these little like secret nothing cute asides, and they're kind of touching each other.
brand of excellence where you go, this is where the best go to bang.
And to that effect, that's exactly what we're putting together in this venue. Now we're going to bring that standard of having all that moderation excellence, where I can moderate this debate fairly. A lot of people try their hand at debate moderation, and it's actually far more difficult than people think to do it right. Coming up with the
I agree with that, by the way. It is it's tough to be a good moderator these days. And some of the people we got moderating these debates, where did you get these guys? The toilet store? What do we think? Should the shirt be this? Should you be able to see the shirt from behind? I think that's a better outline, a better like thin. I don't know why I'm calling this a bezel. I don't know shit about fashion. What's a bezel? Is that like for a monitor?
gold standard for the format was critical. And we worked on it. My entire team worked on it, along with Tripoli's entire team. And we came up with just a banger of a venue.
Second time banger. This is where the best go to bang was a banger. Look at this long little gaze. Have any nipple action? I don't see any.
A banger. We're going to take
3 times. 3 times.
pro sports with pro debates and create a beautiful hybrid. What you're going to get are the best of the best going at it, the smartest, the fastest, the most.
Tripoli sleeves look so dumb. I just think that too much is showing of the sleeves. These look like courtly cuffs. Right. And this should be down more.
Ruthless, put up or shut up, okay? That's the show.
People being able to eat, people being able to drink, people being able to actually have a
Whoa! This is pretty sick. I hear this is in Atlantic City. But this is pretty sick. You know, fuck it. I'll get a ticket. I'll cover this as a news piece. This is the Michael Jordan of debate and Sam Tripoli. Debating under the influence. They're going to have gambling on the debates. Yeah, they're going to like bet on the debate. Tripoli is a gigastoner comic moron. The only time I've heard of Tripoli is that Red Bar arc with what's this guy's name? Joey Diaz. Sam Tripoli's gonna fuck you up. Xanax. I don't have the intelligence of Joe Rogan. That's where I know Sam Tripoli. That Red Bar arc. I'm still pissed, by the way. I said Red Bar is watching to this dude, the Gavin McInnes dude, live in the debate, but it was near the end and they cut it out. I have a recording of it, but I'm like, I didn't think they were going to cut it out, and we wanted to get it up fast. Damn.
good time. They actually want to meet the people who represent their worldviews, and they want to break bread with them. They want to actually talk to them. They want to kind of have input on these ideas because most of these debaters are representing whole worldviews. Whole worldviews on behalf of people who can't. The mechanic can't do it. The mechanic can't go on CNN and tell these pundits to go f themselves.
Okay, this is a bit much. You're selling this like it's a fucking, like a class conscious thing. On the other hand, being like, this is the premier established thing, and this is where the elites will go to battle each other, and the best of the best, and we're gonna have the most fancy shit. You're gonna be able to drink and do Hunger Games like elite shit at the venue or whatever, and you're gonna be able to go to the ocean, but then also sell this as like, the mechanic, he can't go and tell the pundit to fuck off. Bro, you ever hear of Joe the Plumber, bro? You guys ever hear of Joe the Plumber? It's just like, I understand the importance of respecting the working class. No one respects the working class more than me. But it just feels so phony and inauthentic when in like everything, there's this fetishization where it doesn't really feel like it's coming from a genuine place. That they're like, actually, this was really inspired by the mechanic and helping out the mechanic and the plumber who's just getting off of work and he wants to tell the pundit to fuck off, and so he puts on World War Debate. I don't know. It gives me a kind of like, this is so obviously pandering to a particular coalition that Republicans have gained with the, like, you know, the white working class type people. It just feels at this point so phony whenever you hear this kind of appeal, especially when it's contrasted with and juxtaposed with like them trying to sell us on the premier nature of it and how a cut above the best, and you're getting all these crazy two camera angles, and some guy who's the most tan man in the world is going to flop. I don't know that it's going to flop. I'm sure that he's made connections on Piers Morgan and stuff. And Sam Tripoli, he's a known. I would definitely do this. I want to be clear about this. So, you know, now Andrew Wilson and I have only ever really debated in a group where he's been able to hide. And when he has moderated one discussion I had with Rob, I think, some time ago. Wedding chairs, you know. But it's just kind of a phony sell. The plumber, the mechanic.
Want to break bread with them. They want to actually talk to them. They want to kind of have input on these ideas because most of these debaters are representing whole worldviews. Whole worldviews on behalf of people who can't. The mechanic can't do it. The mechanic can't go on CNN and tell these pundits to go f themselves.
Yeah.
That ends up being the job of you, the representation.
Wait, why do they fucking keep... Is this a stain? Is this a fucking stain on your shirt? Wait. Yeah. Why did he like just talk like a Joker goon? Oh, the Batman. I'm sorry if he has some like issue. I'm really sorry.
Views on behalf of people who can't. The mechanic can't do it. The mechanic can't go on CNN and tell these pundits to go f themselves.
Yeah.
That ends up being the job of you, the representation of the world.
Is that a stain? Two distinct curvoid stains. Not sure. Probably should touch that up or something. I don't know if you can touch that up in post. I think he's just like that. The Batman. Hey, you think he's real, boss? Hey, he's just a myth. There's nothing to be worried about. You guys ever play those Arkham games? Thank you so much for watching the stream 5 times. I didn't know that gave me an alert when that happened, but thank you very much, I Have Toes, for... It's not a sub. I was about to thank you for subbing or following, but it's just that you watched it. And when I do appreciate it. Joe the Plumber died? Oh, no the fucking way. No way. The Batman. No. No, he died 2 years ago. Fuck. Plumbing credentials. Regarding his statement to Barack Obama about intending to buy the plumbing firm that employed him, Wurzelbacher, this is Joe the plumber, later said the idea of buying the company was discussed during his job interview. Court records show that he made $40,000 in 2006. Wurzelbacher was not a member of the Union Association of Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, the National Plumbers Union, and never served an apprenticeship. Oh, was he like not a unionized plumber? One Toledo Blade article said Mr. Wurzelbacher said he works under Al Newell's license, but according to Ohio building regulations, he must maintain his own license to do plumbing work. He's also not registered to operate as a plumber in Ohio, which means he's not a plumber. So he couldn't even plumb? Never meet your heroes. Wasn't even allowed to plumb. But rest in peace.
And we're like, what's the best place to do that?
We're like, what's the best place, Joker? I can't get it out. Like, fuck. Listen, no one show. If I ever get invited to this, let's just delete the VOD. Because I don't want. Because I would do this. I would 100% go to Atlantic City. It's not that far away. Been to Atlantic City before. Fun place. You know, this sounds like fun. Sounds like a good time. That said, don't show them that I made fun of his voice.
Can't go on CNN and tell these pundits to go.
Oh, what did happen to Ken Bone? Ken Bone. Didn't he like become a loser? Didn't like his Reddit account or something? I don't know. Something happened. Ken Bone. He has a picture. Wikipedia with a picture. This dude is only known because he had a red sweater and a mustache. Like, there's real estate in my cranial in this for a dude who asked a question that everyone remembered his name because he wore a sweater. I guess his name is funny. His full name is Kenneth Bone. He should have done porn. He has a child, and his spouse's name is Heather. He was a power plant worker.
Themselves.
Yeah.
That ends up being the job of you, the representation of the worldview.
And we're like, what's the best place to do that? There's only one place. ACX1 Studios in Atlantic City is where the champions will be named.
If you want to cover it, you want to stream it, you want to restream it, you want to mix it up, you're more than welcome to do it until we get to the main event.
Why put that there? It just seems so odd to be like, this is our licensing thing. And just be clear, you're able to restream it and react to it, but only up till the main event. And then after that, I guess there's a paywall, which is fine. I mean, you know, they're putting a promotion, it's their own thing. But it just seems a little odd to. You guys ever watch these guys, the Fine Bros, when they're like, React World? It just has that kind of feeling like, feel free to do this, but we will go after you. We will copyright strike you. If, like, dude. I'm sorry, I don't know. We can't fucking react to your debates. You're going to be like Jubilee? Going to be like Jubilee?
When we're talking about the VIP side, right, we wanted to make sure that we had a third floor lounge right on the ocean.
Yeah.
Right on the ocean.
This venue is beautiful.
Beautiful. And what we can do, and what we are doing, is we're going to make sure that if you get a VIP.
Holy shit. This is epic. I love this filter, by the way. Fucking sick. I love New Jersey. What was it? What was I gonna say? I was gonna say one other thing. They're gonna make this the new Epstein Island. Stop it. Enough of your nonsense. This is cool. I'm gonna go to it. I'm gonna be invited because they're gonna need me. I'm just kidding. They're like, we're gonna invite DeSantis and Adam Mockler to debate or something. But I would definitely do this. He can practice with the jars.
VIP ticket, one, it's affordable. Two, that when you come out and you come up to the VIP section, you're right in front of the ocean, nice fireplace roaring, huge area for us to relax and have a good time post-debate. We want you to be able to meet the representations of your worldview. That's never really been done before.
Huh? People have never met the representations of their worldview, and I don't even know what that means.
Relax and have a good time post-debate. We want you to be able to meet the representations of your worldview. That's never really been done before.
Pretty sure people have been meeting other people with worldviews. This is another, by the way, signal. When I hear the term worldview, it's like a pre-sup trigger. I'm like, oh, this guy's a pre-supper. You know, my worldview is getting scammed by insecure losers. Never been done before, this meeting people out in public thing.
Fireplace roaring, huge area for us to relax and have a good time post-debate. We want you to be able to meet the representations of your worldview. That's never really been done before. And it's a whole different type of venue that we're...
It's a whole different type of venue, I agree. Llama, the left can't even get a stream show together, live and learn. Your biggest name can't stay out of the courtroom. Meanwhile, we get a whole arena. You keep losing and just muck clothing and set. Well, we do have a stream show called Live and Learn. We're not the left. We're like a bunch of small creators. I would say, we're not particularly like household names. I don't know. We're just having fun. I thought jokes were legal. Someone linked the Discord. I don't even understand. Like you're mad that we're poking a little fun. I just said I think it's awesome that we're invited. I mean, I don't like the name. I think the name's kind of dumb. Doesn't roll off the tongue. World War debate. Too many like whoa like needs to be simpler. How about just debate? It's just a bit of a mouthful. Also, I'm promoting World War debate to my audience, which again is not like particularly large. So I don't know why you're like mad at me for just poking a little fun. I think it's cool they're doing something in life and doing these kind of venue stuff. And they're going to have debates. And hopefully one day I'll get to be on it and go to Atlantic City. I've been open about that. I do think the stains are funny. I'm like, what am I? I'm supposed to, this is what the chatter, who's one guy me successfully. He's like, you should be on your knees. This is where the best go to bang. And you're making fun of it. You're poking fun of the stains. When have you ever done something? Okay. Just having a little fun, dude. Not mad, laughing. We need the next Rogan was your post-election campaign. That wasn't a campaign, bro. Our campaign. We need the next Joe Rogan to the left. Where the best go to bang. There's a lot of room for activities. This is a big moment. This is a big deal. We might have to watch.
Really looking forward to sharing with all of you.
Wait, hang on. I'm going to react the proper way for Jimmy. Ready? We're doing the whole thing. Holy shit.
The Enlightened Network
The Enlightened Network. Oh my God. How much are you going to get paid for this graphic? It's fucking crazy. This is insane production value.
To present Word
Oh, him? They got this guy? What the, what? They're getting big names.
War Debate, the premier debate league. I'm Ben Swan.
Oh shit. So it's going to be like a league, so like playoffs and shit?
And I'm here to introduce
Ben Swan. He's the debate host. Oh, so they're hosting the moderator. That's so fucking cool. So they're going to have like multiple different people pulling this all together. He's going to be like the charisma host guy, and Andrew Wilson, who'll actually be like in the weeds doing the moderating. He needs to be focused on that. So that's fucking cool.
the new.
I like the fire, this fucking like Lego fire look. It's just classic. And the, synth music in the background really, really, I don't know, modern.
Gold standard
The
of
aesthetic
debates.
is
every
awesome.
statement, every argument, every counterpoint
statement
is tested under the lights in real time. Let's send it over now to Andrew Wilson and Sam Tripoli.
I think this has the potential, and I'm not actually exaggerating. This has the potential to be bigger than, I don't know, MS Now. This has the potential to be bigger than certainly anything the left has ever done.
Inside the ACX1
This dude is like really buff too.
studios in Atlantic City, guys.
What we decided to do was get a
Fuck, look at
great
these
team of
Chads.
people together, get one hell of a venue,
Hell
and
yeah.
put together some
This
of
is
the
fucking
funnest
epic.
and most riveting debates that you've ever seen, and I'm going to moderate these debates. And this is going to be fantastic.
And
I
if you
love
look-
these crotch shots. I love the fact that they have Sam Tripoli and they lead with him. Like, this dude's actually mainstream. And so I think it's just a testimony to like the amount of talent they're going to be able to bring in.
lucky, maybe at the end, Andrew might debate.
Holy shit. That would be so fucking awesome. Like, we're getting our guy out in the mainstream. Like, he's going to be debating these big names. And that'll be like a secret, like only sometimes he'll come out and debate. I think that's pretty epic.
We don't know. Why would we have Michael Jordan sitting aside coaching?
Dude.
Why not throw him in the game?
We're going to have the best on, and we're going to put it in the best venue.
There's debates all over the place, but there's no
Look at this fucking space, dude. Wait, hang on. This is so awesome. How much? And it's probably going to be like not too unreasonable price either, because I know they wouldn't like just they wouldn't overcharge. I think like what, $200-$300. VIP obviously a little more. That might run you know, 900, maybe 1,000. But that's like I think that they said that that's like on the ocean, and they might even like bring you complimentary stuff. I don't know how many of those tickets are gonna be available.
And we're going to put it in the best venue.
there's debates all over the place, but there's no brand of excellence where you go.
Are you gonna be debating there? Yeah, actually. By the way, look, great pause. Fucking love this there. I'm gonna be debating there, but the thing is, I'm gonna have to work my way up to that because this is like the premiere of debates. So this is really the best thing that there is, and so I like me in my current state, not gonna be invited. I would have to probably reach 1 million subs, something like that. But even then, it's like competitive, right? Maybe I'd get on a prelim. Maybe I get on prelim. Those are the ones that you can like restream. And I think it's pretty fair that you're allowed to restream all the prelims, but the main event, like that's where they're going to make their money, obviously. And so that's going to be behind a paywall, which I think is like more than fair. I'm going to be going to all these, so it doesn't matter to me. I want to be in person to meet the people who represent my worldview.
Oh, this is where the best go to bang.
And to that effect, that's exactly what we're putting together in this venue. Now we're going to bring that standard.
Look at how
of
big
having
this
all
is.
That moderation excellence, where I can moderate this debate fairly. A lot of people try their hand at debate moderation, and it's actually far more difficult than people think to do it right.
What up, Josiah,
Coming
by the
up
way,
with
yeah.
The gold standard for the format was critical, and we
It's actually like really like, I'm glad that Andrew's on the format stuff because the format's, it's crucial.
worked on it my entire
I mean, this is why you want me to react to this, is like to be in reverence to the fucking, to this thing. This is exciting. I think that I would love to be invited to this shit. I'd love to participate in it, but we're poking a little fun. And you guys are so butthurt. You're like, huh, you wanted to do the Joe Rogan on the left. What have you ever done? Fuck all. Fuck all. Doesn't mean I can't poke fun. World. That's a better name. World War Worldview. Say that 5 times. I can't even say it once. World War Worldview. World War Worldview. World War Worldview. I can't even say it twice.
and you come up to the VIP section, you're right in front of the
You come to the VIP section, you're gonna have a little trouble, kid. You come to the VIP section, you're gonna have some. You're gonna have to contain yourself.
And you come up to the VIP section, you're right in front of the ocean, nice fireplace roaring, huge area for us to relax and have a good time post-debate. We want you to be able to meet the representations of your worldview. That's never really been
I
done
can't say
before.
it, no.
And it's a whole
never been
different type
done.
of venue that we're really looking forward to sharing with all of you.
It's
Worldview
real simple.
war.
All you're going to have to do is go to Word War Debate.
He can't even say it. It's a mouthful. Change the fucking name. Change the logo. Change the organizer. Change the moderator. And change the host. And change the city. And change the venue. Then we have a fucking, then we're talking.
To wordwardebate.com. Grab your tickets now. This will sell out.
WordWarDebate.com.
He can't
Make
even
sure you
say
go
it.
there.
No one can say this.
All you're going to have to do is go to Word War Debate.
Word? Wait. Word ward? Word ward? Word ward? Word? Wait, am I having a stroke right now? I can't even say the fight. Wait, I thought it was World War. Oh, it's Word War. I thought it was World War debate. It's Word War. I am not. This isn't even a bit. I thought it was World War debate. It's Word War debate. That's even worse. I didn't even know. I thought it was World War debate. I'm dead ass. I did not know that is. I just had a stroke. Word War debate. I heard it too. Hang on. Word War debate? What's the word of it? Word war. Word war. Oh, it's a word war. Oh, it's a war of words. Oh my God. That makes more sense. It's a war of words. Word war. Why not just have word war? That's pretty sick. Word war. But even that, it's 2 W's. Worldwide word war. World war. Start stealing yoink. We're going to have a new show on Live and Learn. It's called Word War. Not Word War debate. World War WWD. They should have had like an F word after it. So it'd be WWF. It's not a good name either way. What's better? Do you guys prefer World War debate or Word War debate? I could have sworn there was an L. I would have bet my entire life savings, all of my pension, everyone in my life that there was an L right after the letter R and that it was World War debate. That was like one of the biggest revelations in all of my life. I couldn't believe it. That I was riffing on the title the entire time. Maybe it's because the logo is so not memorable. It looks like Legos. This is a great idea, though. I love public debates, and I would love to be invited. And please don't show anyone this reaction video. It's gone too long. We're like an hour in, and I'm just reviewing this 3-minute video.
Be able to meet the representations of your worldview. That's never really been done before. And it's a whole different type of venue that we're really looking forward to sharing with all of you.
It's real simple. All you're going to have to do is go to wordwardebate.com, grab your tickets now. This will sell out.
Wordwardebate.com. Make sure you go there.
And it all goes down January 10th, Atlantic City at
Atlanta City.
ACX1 Studios, right next to Caesar's Palace.
Oh, fuck! Look at that fucking graphic. Shit. That's AI. No, it's not. That was rendered. I don't know what that means. The first one, the Premier Debate League. I like that. They should have just called it the Premier Debate League. Or just Word War. Or maybe just go back to the drawing board. This looks like a Valuetainment fucking logo. Could it be any more stock? Should have just called it a Hippy Dippy Roundtable. Steal fucking Dylan's name. Yoink. No holds barred debate show. I can't wait to bring my wife here for her birthday. Oh no. Debate war. Debate war. Holy shit. Wait, let's brainstorm. Debate war. War of the words. Yeah. I'm trying to work with their theme. I don't know what their theme is. Their theme is like synth music from the 80s and fire, but also blue filter, ocean, Atlantic City. I think there should be more like a Atlantic City casino vibe. If you're going to just go all in on the casino thing and New Jersey. Clash of Minds. Mouth Fight Arena. Do the same thing, but just call it Debate War. I do not want to do logistics for wrangling a debate show. That's like hard enough to do virtually. Can you imagine, like, I mean, I've actually organized some like events at my law school for other things where I've had to like get meals for people, and oh, we need a gluten-free meal, and we need this, and like, oh my god. And to like get a band there, and the band wants to negotiate, and then oh, they fucking brought 2 cars, and there's like, you know, it's a fucking nightmare. It's a nightmare. So I don't want to do this. I want to be someone who goes to this, either as a paying member of the public. I would, of course, be paying for the VIP tickets so I could meet the people who share my worldview. But I don't want to do this. Or at least, I would only do this from a supervisory level. And from a aloof supervisory level. Looking down on the manager that I've put in charge. But to actually get in the weeds and start being like, oh yeah, let's... No. Nah. It's one thing for, like, a studio. That I would be happy to do. And we did that in New York. But actually, like, organizing in person with, like, speaker stuff? Nah. We did that one, like, bar thing. And that was a quick turnaround. That was fun. I don't know if you guys were there. I closed out. Good times. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, that's Word War Debate. Final thoughts, guys. I'll give this intro, I'll give it a 6.8 out of 10. So I think there's a lot of hype, and you know, I love the positivity. I love the ocean. This is a nice shot. Who would they steal this from? I think they could have had a more consistent aesthetic. Don't love the logo. It's a bit dark. The lighting seems a bit fucked. The camera angle's a bit fucked. And then also look at the repetition here. You don't need the logo 3 times. And I don't know how I feel about having Sam Tripoli play like the goon role. Or he's like, yeah, what he said, you like the Michael Jordan of debate. But yeah, we don't need this 3 times in the same shot. I think this guy was good. Needs more cigarettes. Cigarettes on cigarettes. 3.5. No, sorry, 4.5. It's a back to the studio effort. I think 6.8. I'm going to be generous. 6.8. It's the 3-time rule in advertising. Logo should have been a watermark in the corner. Yeah. And then, like, I don't know what they're going for here. Is it, like, supposed to be epic, or, like, they're on vacation together? Like 2 gay guys looking to, like, rent out a wedding venue. Look, honey. So we come to bang. Pisco Pine, it's not epic. The blues, I mean, you don't, this feels like too blue. And then you have the Word War Debate. I like this at the top right. Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it. Sorry.
And what we are doing is we're going to make sure.
This shot, I think, is like, what is this giving? This is like a Hangover poster, right? I don't know why he's grimacing in all these shots. Maybe it's like really light out. It also seems like off kilter a bit. Maybe that's just my post stroke.
Sure that if you get a VIP ticket, one, it's
I like. Is that a wind machine, or is that just the wind?
and what we can do and what we are doing is we're going to make sure that
It kind of looks like he's farting a
if you
bit.
get a VIP ticket, one, it's affordable. 2, that when you come out and you come up to the VIP section, you're right in front of the ocean. Nice.
Yeah, just a bit dark. I don't like the synth music. It's been overdone. We have Stranger Things coming out like this month or next month. And that's their area, okay? We don't need more synth fucking 80s like bullshit. Do something new. Just bought tickets to Bang. They were only $500. But I do hope they get good people on there. I would love to do this. And I hope that just because I'm poking fun that they'll put me under consideration.
February 10th, Atlantic City at ACX1 Studios, right next to Caesar's Palace.
Is he like able to talk? I'm sorry. Like, we're almost done, right? I know you guys are like, get on with it. This is how I review things. All right, fuck it. One sec. All right. Give me a second here, folks. Okay, first things first. First things first on the real list. Before we do our debate review, just a quick little update on Trumpy. So, Trump puts out a tweet tonight after earlier reports today that he was doing a last final attempt to get people not to vote for this bill in the House that is purporting to undo or release the Epstein files. And the message is the most obviously grasping for straws, desperate attempt to take hold of the narrative that I've ever seen. So we have report after report and public comm after public comm from the Trump administration that they don't want this to happen. Right? First, it's the fact that Bondi was in this mess in the first place with the whole reveal in the White House, with her statement on Fox News, with then the memo on that Sunday, whenever that was, that said that there's nothing to see here, folks. So the public communication from the administration, the official position was nothing more to see here. Investigation over, nothing else to release. Everything that could be released was released. That was the official position of the administration. And then more pressure builds. The House has this little discharge petition fight, and they're starting to get documents from Epstein's estate, and they start to release them. And some of them don't make Trump look good at all. I think some extrapolations, people are a little quick to make those extrapolations. I'm not saying that I am confirming or denying. I'm just saying the emails make him look bad. Okay? And still, right, Trump is fighting the release of more documents. He's saying it's a hoax. He's saying the Democrats made it up. He's saying Obama made it up. There's nothing to see here, folks. Why are we concentrating on it? Let's move on. After, of course, Elon said that Trump was in the Epstein files after their big falling out. And so, as we'll talk about why, but Trump then publicly orders his attorney general to initiate an investigation into the Epstein files with respect to Democrats or Democrat-associated people. A brazen political act and manipulating the Department of Justice to do things for political purposes. Just another in a long list of corrupt fucking bullshit that Trump is responsible for, especially in interfering with the Department of Justice. And Bondi's like, yes, sir, I will do whatever the president tells me to do because I'm a hack. And it's true. Bondi's an extension of Trump's will. Bondi will do whatever Trump says. She's a soulless creature. She doesn't have a soul. And then we get reports that Trump is privately petitioning, asking, leaning on, threatening, cajoling the 4 members of the Republican Party who were signing on to the discharge petition. Specifically, though, the 2 women, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert was hailed into the Situation Room, where they have all the maps. and where they do all the stuff like the murdering of people in international waters that I guess we're doing now for the 20th time. And we're, staging our military assets around Venezuela for like an invasion and designated him as a terrorist. And remember, this is the kind of thing that we're told is completely under the discretion of the president and can never be questioned. Just like we said after Trump versus the United States, just like we were doing with the hypotheticals, they're now doing it, right? They're now doing it. And they're actually just killing people without any due process, without any accountability, just because of mere allegations that they're not even doing something that would even plausibly be connected to engaging in war against the United States. Oh, Nancy Mace was voting. Oh yeah, Nancy Mace was there too, and I think they were pressuring her too. They bring Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room, and who's sitting there? Pam Bondi, I think Todd Blanche, Deputy AG, I think Kash Patel or someone else from the FBI. So the top officials at DOJ and perhaps the FBI to talk to Lauren Boebert and to convince her to not vote in favor of the discharge petition. This is before it reached the threshold. Now it's going to be heard. And that is another level of hilarity that our Department of Justice, their main job is running PR and whipping votes for Trump's legislative agenda. Because what we're dealing with here is legislation. And so now it's Pam Bondi's job not to enforce the law, but to talk to legislators and comment on how they should use their legislative discretion in terms of their vote. Very cool, very appropriate for this to happen. This meeting, by the way, I think is by itself impeachable. Like, all of these actions that I'm describing at many different stages are grounds for impeachment, for abuse of power, for a bunch of different shit. Obstruction of Congress, etc. But Boebert stands tall, as does Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is an insane person, but has been consistent on this Epstein thing for at least some time, at least since it's been, bandied about as the cause of the century, especially among the MAGA base crowd for whom this is an important issue. At least the online people, right? The ideological thought leaders of MAGA. And this was a stated issue that was very important to them. But they're not moving. They're not budging on the vote. They're going to have the vote. Trump, after this fails, lashes out at Thomas Massie and says, haha, basically, this is me. I'm editorializing a little bit here, but this is how everyone interprets it. Haha, Thomas Massie, your wife died. So weird that you remarried so quickly. Haha. That's how regardless of how the message was actually intended, that's what people got from it. And people in the MAGA base generally like Thomas Massie. He was one of the leaders of the charge on this discharge petition. So it goes after Massie, lashes out. He's already supported a primary challenge for Massie for some time now. I think they've already tried before in the last election, and it failed. And now he goes after Marjorie Taylor Greene, undoes his endorsement of her, and basically says that she's, that she's not MAGA, that she's a leftist, that she's a traitor, that she's Marjorie Taylor Brown, because it's like poop, or it's like green that's gone bad. That's an all-time line by Trump. Marjorie Taylor Brown, got a game recognized game. That's pretty funny, but it's also pretty desperate because I don't think it's strategically smart for him. As I mentioned in the last stream, it creates linkage between the effort to push out Marjorie Taylor Greene and the issue of Epstein. And standing tall with Trump against Greene might be seen as standing against the Epstein files release. It creates an uncomfortable tension there, especially at a time where like Fuentes and this civil war is happening, where the Groypers are becoming more prominent and trying to wrest power from Trump's preferred candidates or Trump's preferred, ideological curators, and where Fuentes is actively often going after Trump and gaining nationwide notoriety for doing so. So that's happening. Not strategically smart, in my opinion. And there's been a lot of people fence-sitting on that issue and a lot of discomfort. Trump's approval ratings are going down. And at the last minute, at the start of the week in which the vote is going to happen, Trump comes out and says, as I said on Friday night, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files. Bro, everyone knows you're so full of shit. It is a desperate attempt to try to regain the narrative control and be like, I was in favor of this all along. No one believes you, bro. A lot of people are taking this as like, finally, they're speaking up on this for the first time. See, Trump was always on board, but like they're just, at this point, they were desperate to find some way to thread the needle in their sycophantic support for Trump, trying to see where the wind is blowing. And finally, they got a message which aligns, at least nominally, Trump. But look at this message, and first, notice a couple things. One is, he doesn't want to be seen as out of control. If it's the case that the Republicans take a vote in the House of Representatives, which he controls, that he doesn't want them to take, that signals that he's out of control, right? He couldn't even control his caucus when he was actively and determinedly, I don't know the fucking word, in a determined fashion, lobbying particular members. That's almost always worked for Trump in the context of the House Republicans. Less so in the Senate. But when it comes to the House, he has been very successful in lobbying House members directly whenever he really needed them, in various different votes on the speakership, on these different procedural votes with regard to the big beautiful bill. He's always been able to, and even in his first term, extract that value. On the impeachment inquiry stuff, which was resisted for a while, even when he was out of power, that was a little bit of Matt Gaetz in there too. So that is a potential signal of weakness. And so he wants to get out ahead of it and be like, I was always in favor of this. But it's belied by your fucking mediocrity and the countless reports and public communications of you saying this is a hoax, nothing to see here, we shouldn't have to release, there's nothing more to release. And then literally the conversations with Congress people who are telling us that this is that you didn't want this. And even as late as today, you were trying to lobby them against it. So it's a lie, and everyone knows it's a lie. Everyone fucking knows it. No one is buying this line that he actually wanted this to be the vote to take place. Fucking bullshit. Like, the reason we're all here is because he didn't want to do it. They closed down the House early, multiple times, at least 2-3 times, to avoid this from happening and to avoid this being a business of the House Representatives. And what do you think, that happened because Trump didn't want it there? The only reason Mike Johnson was doing that kind of stuff is because Trump wanted it. And he told him he wanted it. So the only reason we're here, and it's been so long and we haven't had this legislation pass, is because of it. And you know what else? Here's the kicker. Trump doesn't need fucking legislation to release the documents. He has control over them. He has authority over them. Why would he need legislation to release it? So anyone who's telling you, like, look, he supports the bill. Bro, the documents are in his control. He controls them. Right? So if he wanted to release them, he just could. He doesn't need a law passed to mandate the Department of Justice to release them. He can just release them. So that's why this, like, I support the bill to tell me what to do when I have it's not like there's some legal barrier to him releasing it. It gives us this kind of, like, by the way, the dodge on the judges who they're basically blaming as scapegoats for some of the grand jury materials, which they can't release under binding federal rules of criminal procedure unless there's a valid exception. And there isn't a valid exception to release these documents, but that grand jury material is like one little grain of sand compared to the trove the DOJ and the government has. So anyone who's trying to sell you this line, like, oh, look, Trump has come around on it. Like, no, he has the power to do it today. He wouldn't need this to, if he was really on board, he would just have released them earlier or release them today. You know? So this is nonsense. But then read this. Because we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democratic hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democratic shutdown, desperate. The Department of Justice has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public on, quote, Epstein, are looking at various Democrat operatives, Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, etc., and their relationship to Epstein. And the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. And that signals what I predicted early. As soon as I saw this whole thing of like, we're going to open the investigations into Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton, I was like, okay, he's angling for a backup plan in case this passes. Thank you so much for the member on YouTube. Non-fun, appreciate it. I was like, this seems like an attempt to raise this argument in court and to claim under the precedent perhaps of Trump of the United States that it's a core and exclusive authority of the president to launch investigations, and Congress can't interfere with that by demanding productions in the course of the investigation, which I describe as a non-trivial argument. A non-trivial argument because of the preposterous ruling in Trump versus United States. It's something the court has to deal with. It's an absurdity that's, I think, arguably implied by Trump versus the United States. I don't think it's a necessary holding from Trump versus the United States, because technically, right, Trump versus the United States is only with respect to the specific criminal protections of a former president. So it doesn't technically bind the court if this were to come to a standoff on the issue of production. But it does certainly, from a theoretical perspective, from a reasoning perspective, I think it provides Trump with a non-trivial argument in court. And I'll be looking at, I bet you, like the second anyone makes like an issue of this and how they're going to comply is plenty of opportunity for Trump to fuck around. Plenty of opportunity for him to fuck around. Like, are they going to have to make like an executive privilege log of everything that Trump like claims executive privilege over, or things he claims are like sensitive to an ongoing matter, which he'll say is like everything? And that'll be ultimately a fight in the courts, probably, if we even know about it. The problem is if Trump tries to like throw something out, the potential for leaks, it's just too many people have eyes on this now that I'm not as worried about the potential of deletion without us knowing about it. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I think the better strat from Trump is to just withhold a bunch of stuff, claim privilege on with the sensitivities of the investigation, with respect to like core exclusive powers of the president, and have it out in court with a sympathetic judiciary. But yeah, that's what I think he's angling for. And you can kind of see it in the phrasing here, which is they can have everything they're legally entitled to. What he's going to argue is that like they're not legally entitled to a set or subset of those documents, including probably all the stuff that relates to him. And look at what it says. I don't care. Really? Kind of feels like you care, Donald. If you don't care, why are you bringing Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room? If you don't care, why are you going after Marjorie Taylor Greene? Right? It's so absurd on its face. Even like the Trump sycophants can't make sense of it, even though they try, right? Like, why would Trump be going after Marjorie Taylor Greene if he really didn't care? If he's on the same side as Marjorie Taylor Greene on the Epstein files, why is he fighting with her then? Doesn't make any sense. I don't care. That's what you say when you care, is to say I don't care in all caps. Right? If you really didn't care, you would have just been like, okay, cool, we'll release him. You don't need legislation. Here's everything. All I do care about is that the Republicans get back on point, which is the economy, affordability, where we are winning big. Check the polls, bro. Check the prices. our victory on reducing inflation from the highest level in history to practically nothing, bringing down prices for American people, delivering historic tax cuts, gaining trillions of dollars of investments into America, a record, and then rebuilding our military, et cetera, a bunch of shit that people don't really buy from him anymore. So this, I think, is so predictable that he would try something like that. I don't think it's going to work. Do I think that a bunch of Republicans are going to like start to denounce him and stuff? No. But I don't think that it's going to solve this problem for him. I think he will continue to be dogged by this issue. And the Republicans, I think if they're wise, will try not to be caught in the crossfire. I think the smarter Republicans, some people's hands are forced. Marjorie Taylor Greene's hand is forced, and she's making a play. So she has to stand tall. But she's playing an angle which is like potentially, she's not directly implicating Trump, which is a weird place to be, right? She's talking about Epstein, which is definitely like a shot at Trump, because she's like bizarrely saying, I don't know why he would be against this shit, right? So there's a dig at Trump aspect to it, but she's stopping short of saying that like Trump is implicated or anything. But anything short of Marjorie Taylor Greene's like expulsion from the party and loss in a primary, which right now I think she'd be a favorite, if you were to ask me, just based on my gut feeling, is I think a loss for Trump. If she's able to survive this kind of direct attack by Trump, it signals weakness. Maybe not on everything, but on certain issues. And then finally, all of this is happening in the context of the tariff Supreme Court shit, which that's another shoe that could drop any second, which would undermine one of his favorite tools at a time when he keeps like chalking up L after L. So he's manic and he's going to do different things to try to distract. He'll probably release some other political indictments or like start a war with Venezuela or launch some airstrikes into Venezuela or South America. Who the fuck knows? But that's what his playbook is to just distract, obfuscate, deny, that kind of shit. So this is pretty hilarious. And the cope is just delicious from these low IQ, degen MAGA commentators. All right. On to our word war debate review. Just kidding. It's not word war debate. It's Rob Noor versus tomfoolery. This is our main course of the evening. We are tonight's entertainment. Only got one question for you. Where is tomfoolery? Buddy? Okay. So on your left, in this prelim of word war debate, you have Robert Noor. I don't know who this guy is in the picture. Is this this is Admiral Gibbs. Admiral Gibbs. And he has a stylish purple suit / jacket / robe on. I think I've seen him in this getup somewhere else. 3 water bottles, a beer. Are these Trulies or White Claws? A giant fucking mug. Another partially open water bottle. Tom has no water in front of him. No beer in front of him. And Rob has 1 water, 1 beer. I think Rob takes the win initially in terms of the drink game. Like, Gibbs has too many fucking drinks around him. Maybe that like someone else was using this table to play beer pong or some shit. But why the fuck do you have this many things in frame like this? 3 full water bottles? You're gonna need to pee, bro. Tom's head. Do we love this shape, folks? A pure head. No one can say this is not a human skull. No one can say he doesn't have a human-shaped head. 1 legal pad, 2 legal pads, 3 pads. So this is like a full-on prepared debate. Rob did not get the purple memo. But is this a tomfoolery jacket? So this is tomfoolery merch. This is tomfoolery merch. You can get this at tomfoolery.store.co. And it's the tomfoolery colors that, of course, everyone knows. Anyway, I don't know what this debate's about, but Tom covers some of my content. So I decided to return the favor. Take a look at this debate with Rob Noor. And we'll give you our actual in-depth coverage here in this word war debate.
So you're for the deportations?
Yes, definitely.
You are.
I voted for Joe Biden, who has the record for a 40-year deportation. So of course I'm in favor of
Really?
deportation.
So let's just this. Do you think there were people detained under every president that were unlawfully detained?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So don't really see much of a difference here other than its little pet project to the left.
Really, you don't see a difference between them finding out that they're illegally deporting people and saying, I'm refusing to.
What the fuck is Admiral Gibbs doing? This is kind of like an odd little setup here because he's like front and center in the middle, just kind of like on Tinder, not doing anything, checking his phone. I mean, maybe we just caught him at a bad time or something. Yeah, the audio is a little bit. He needs more cans. Well, now there's only 2 bottles next to him, so this must be some other moment in the debate. Oh, he gave one to Rob. Rob finished the water. He stood up.
To bring these people back
They
and
did
allowing them to. That's not what I said. They said they are refusing to bring them back. You keep skipping
not
over
what they
that
said.
part. They did say that.
All right, let me
Pam Bondi
instruct
said
you.
it numerous.
What is he doing? Why did he just lay this can down, Gibbs? Did you guys see this? We're going to get through this entire thing today, by the way.
They are refusing to bring them back. You keep skipping
not
over
what they
Is
that.
he about to like shotgun this beer?
They did say that.
All right, let me
Pam Bondi
instruct
Does he have a key in his? Is that what he's doing?
said it numerous times.
Let me instruct you
Stephen
what
Miller
happened.
said it
Let me
numerous times.
instruct you.
Donald Trump said it numerous times.
Let me instruct
J.D.
you what they
Vance
said
it
specific.
numerous times.
So if there's a guy who's an American citizen that's detained in Ukraine, if Joe Biden says no more fucking money for your country unless you release him to us, you don't think they would have?
Yeah, but
Well,
that
then
would,
I guess I
that would
argument.
no, because you're
Right,
Rob,
because it's
seriously,
irrelevant.
no, it's not irrelevant. Seriously, you think paying like what a couple thousand per person is relevant to like a couple $100 billion for one person? You think that's actually the same thing?
Every one of these clips, Gibbs is on his phone.
$1,000 per person is relevant to like a couple $100 billion for one person? You think that's actually the same thing?
What we said is that the courts cannot tell.
Every single shot, Gibbs, you can't fucking do this. You can't be front and center, and on every shot, you're fucking checking out your matches on Tinder.
A district
That's
court
what I'm saying.
cannot
That's
tell
what
the
I'm saying.
president, you have to do
Yes,
this.
that's what I'm saying. And so I'm saying that yes, if we deport Donald Trump and we put him in CCOT before the election, now you're saying no judge could have told Joe Biden you have to bring
That is
Donald Trump
correct.
back.
That is correct. Wow, what an insane bullet debate there. Can't wait to get it. Word war debate.
We are live back with a minute of the evening. It's going to be Rob.
Holy shit. Is this the music from Tom Foolery channel? Or is the music from Admiral Gibbs channel?
The host of Normal America and a member of the Crucible versus Tom Foolery, the host of the Tom Foolery Show. Here's the experienced players. It's going to be
Oh my god. Why do we have a foghorn?
America and a member of the Crucible versus Tom Foolery, the host of the Tom Foolery Show. Here's the experienced players. It's going to be a good one. The topic was, if y'all remind me, what was the topic again? I apologize.
It's an assault.
Left versus right violence, political violence. Which is worse? Tom here is representing all of the left, every single one of them. He's going to answer for leftist violence side, and Rob is answering for all the righties who've gotten violent in all of history. So it's going to be good. I'm excited. Tom Foolery, we flipped the coin earlier, and it was Tom Foolery's going to
Is that a vape pen and a power? There's just more drinks being added to this menagerie. And a vape pen. Now, I assume this isn't weed, Tom. Gibbs forgot the topic. Good start. No, he said violence. He said it so fast. It's a gong.
go first. So he's going to pretend to be the app for this.
Thank you so much for the sub. Appreciate your guys' support. You know it's a weed pen. I don't know that. Smooth, I don't know that. That's his inhaler, bro. These men are very dehydrated.
Same format as earlier. It's good stuff. Any questions before we begin? No?
Check the. Oh, please don't tell me this is fucking another foghorn.
All right, boys, kick it off. You got 7 minutes starting whenever.
Oh, really? We have to listen to that every time there's a membership on the Tomfoolery Show?
All right. So from every study that I've seen done on political violence, they all seem to come to the conclusion that the right commits more political murders.
All right. So the first argument is who's more violent, right or left? The studies say they're right. That's what Tom is going with. The studies. All right.
Will concede pretty quickly that the left commits more instances of political violence. So if we look at every single
he's going to concede that?
The right commits more political murders. I will concede pretty quickly.
Oh, political murders.
That the left commits more instances of political violence. So if we look.
So you're going to concede that the left does more violence. Isn't that the debate? I mean, you just conceded the debate. Good debate, guys. Wait, did I hear that right? Isn't that the debate, though? It's not about murder. It's about violence, right? Did you just concede the debate?
They all seem to come to the conclusion that the right commits more political.
So the studies say the right commits more
murders.
Political
I will
murders.
Concede pretty quickly that
you'll concede quickly.
The left commits more instances of political violence. So if we.
So you just conceded the debate, Tom. Great. Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and concede the entire debate. On to the next video. Oh, it's too good. It's too good. Sorry, Tom, if you're watching this. Shortest debate ever. What a Dumbo. I mean, I don't know why you would concede that.
You look at every single riot that was. So I'll immediately admit that the left commits more instances of violence.
He said it twice, so he conceded it.
At every single time there was a riot with BLM, there was another instance of political violence. Every single time a lefty keyed a Tesla, that's another instance of political violence. But
what's your basis to concede that? Right? If it's not a study, so you're saying the study says that the left does more violence? Isn't that what the studies don't show?
The left tends to engage in property destruction whenever they engage in political violence, and the right is more likely to engage in threats to life when they engage in political violence, whether it's towards politicians or just in general at protests.
Oh my God, that's not going to be obnoxious. I think the proposition though is about violence, and so I think Tom has conceded and has officially lost the debate, and Rob hasn't even spoken yet. Because that's what I heard. We're less than a minute into the fucking intro, and fucking Admiral Gibbs is already on Grindr.
In public, at clubs, anything like that, it seems as though the right is more likely to commit murders. And when we talk about political violence, obviously there is the property destruction is a type of political violence, but the spectrum of violence, what is more violent? I would say that murder is way more violent, to where
murder is more violent. I think I would grant that.
A much smaller amount of instances of political violence, but it being a much more violent action each time.
Is that going to happen like every fucking second?
Much more violent when it comes to political violence.
Okay. The left defender. So they brought on Tom to defend the left, and it's like, yeah, the left concedes more violent, or it does more violence, but the right does more murder, and that's more violent in terms of what they do. Okay.
All right, is that it?
Yep.
All right, I will go to Rod in one moment. Let you go. But we've got 2 super chats in just now.
Why does your mic suck dick? Oh, he's not on fucking a dating app. He's watching the chat. He's just looking at the chat. So, I mean, that was a little bit unfair to him.
Now we got $20 from AJC Ciala.
Please don't tell me you're going to fucking badly read like a boomer, like looking up and you're like squinting to read these super chats in the middle of opening statements. Let them debate, dude.
Anyway, I'm standing there, still mess with you, man. That's crazy. Yeah, no, como stop. Anyway, let's go, Rob. Thanks, man, for hosting the debate. It's much appreciated, man. In one SB, much love. Stay safe out there, fellas.
This is, I feel like I'm in a fucking.
Hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already, guys. All right, here we got another one.
This audio.
$10. Rob.
It's an
don't
assault.
Let him, they hold him to instances.
Thanks,
Thank you so much. Also, you don't need to pull your mic a little more. Yeah, and then one more point order for the tech team. Tech team. Are y'all listening? Tech team. Tech team.
That's you guys, the
Tech
tech,
team over there,
tech
the tech
guys.
guys.
Yeah.
They're not listening.
I actually love Rob's outfit. I think Rob has the best outfit. He feels like a real, authentic, like, I think it's an appropriate outfit that fits his kind of aesthetic. Like, the Gibbs shit, this is fucking, like, super flamboyant. And Tom wearing his own merch, a little tacky, guys. Come on. A little tacky. I mean, I don't hate the colors.
Tech team.
There's a tech team? There's a fucking tech team?
They turn off the sound effects. They can't hear. All right, appreciate it. All right, and Rob, you got 7 minutes.
Thank you.
Slow down.
7 minutes. So you had 7 minutes available, Tom, and you spent 1 minute and 10 seconds conceding the debate proposition and then passing it off to Rob, who now gets the monologue for 7 minutes. Not a great start, Tom.
First off, thank you for hosting this.
Rob's mic is by far the best, or he has the best training and knows to get right into the mic.
Gibbs, Grid, thanks for hosting. Tom, thanks for being here. Thank you, audience. And if you're watching at home, you made a big mistake not coming to this event. It's been a blast. Thank you.
Oh, there's a fucking crowd here. There are people here. There are individuals behind the scenes that came to the tomfoolery debate. This is pretty cool. This is like a trial run of word war debate. Fuck, I would do this.
Thank you. Now,
This is the Rob North Show. Admiral Gibbs can't be heard in the slightest. The crowd is louder than Gibbs, who's right next to the mic. We have the fucking gong or whatever the hell this noise is going off every 2 seconds.
if you guys keep doing it for 2 hours, we won't have to talk. That'd be wonderful. You know.
And they'll still get paid.
All right, the debate. Right, the debate. All right, topic is who's more violent, the left or the right? It's always nice when your opponent concedes in the opening statement.
Yes, he literally conceded in the opening statement. I that's where I would start too. I just don't understand why you show up, why you go all this way to concede the proposition. Maybe make the like who does more murders, if that's what you could be like that nuanced or whatever, but aren't you here to discuss who's more violent? And you just said, or maybe he's going to make the argument, well, it doesn't matter little bitty instances of violence or something, or you know, one murder is worth X amount of, but that just seems like it's like shit. And also, why concede it? Why not just let him have that burden and then pick it apart if he tries to put up evidence of it? I just don't understand why concede it and why come and not try to alter the proposition if you fundamentally agree. So yeah, I mean, I agree with Rob. I think he conceded it, or at least unless he's gonna play some kind of game where he's doing some conversion between murders and property damage. That's the only way I can see he doesn't automatically lose.
We won't have to talk. That'd be wonderful. You know.
And they'll still get paid.
All right, the debate. Right, the debate. All right, topic is who's more violent, the left or the right? It's always nice when your opponent concedes in the opening statement. I'll take it. The left does have more instances, which would be a quantifying mark. You may say the quality of the violence is worse on the right, which I'll disagree with as well. But as far as the prompt we've agreed to, happy to get that concession in an opening statement. That's like 3 times this month for me. Not too shabby. Now, I'm a good debater, but it also helps to be on the right side of the issue, which I have the good fortune of being most of the time. So let's talk about this. We all know, every one of us know, without looking at one study, that the left is overwhelmingly more violent than the right. And that's been the case ever since Donald Trump came on that escalator.
We all know intuitively the left is more violent. What do you mean by that? We all know. That's a really great defeater in an argument, right? We just know it. We all know it. And he does this a lot too. We all know. Everyone knows. We all know. Really, Rob? So it's an unfalsifiable proposition? It's unfalsifiable? No amount of evidence I could show you would undermine it? See, this is where he leaves himself open for these kinds of critiques all the time. It's just dog shit.
one study that the left is overwhelmingly more violent than the right, and that's been the case ever since Donald Trump came out on that escalator, and even before then. Even if we go back to the days of the Weather Underground, what we see is the left not only engages in violence more, in both proportion and in the quality of that violence, but it's also that they're rarely held to the same standard. In fact, the standards are inverse when it comes to our culture and when it comes to our legal system. For example, people in the Weather Underground that were literally domestic terrorists went on to be professors and people that were instructing actual prominent politicians in this country, such as Bill Ayers, that was one of the mentors of Barack Obama. Anytime there's any sort of right-wing violence, it's almost universally condemned by the people in positions of culture and politics, and in particular, our law enforcement. You could name the amount of right-wing political violence on one hand. I'd be shocked if you could come up with more than 2 in the past 8 years, because that's how infrequent it is. Whereas with the left, we can talk about violence. I could take one city like Portland and probably come up with hundreds of examples in the past 8 years of political violence. Now, the truth is, the reason we're hyper-focused on political violence is because of the insidious intent of it. The truth is, political violence stands apart as though all violence is bad, but it stands apart
What is going on?
because it's designed to switch our politics and our culture. This is what makes it unique from like a carjacking or a mugging. Because the left engages in this amount of political violence, it allows them to change the cultural
Gibbs is so not listening.
narrative and allows them to change the political landscape. Quite possibly the best of us was Charlie Kirk. And after his assassination, which there were
Because he was the best of us. Because he showed how good. Oh, fuck. What's the line? The Joker chose me. Because you were the best of us.
There's almost no repudiation in a general scale when it came to the left, in particular the politicians, the media, etc., who basically went to do everything possible immediately preceding the death of Charlie Kirk to basically say he deserved it by continuing to use the language of the shooter. Because no one's held to account culturally or politically for these motivations, things will escalate. And what are the repercussions? Well, the right's rudderless, and there's all sorts of bad things that have been occurring politically since then with the right. And meanwhile, the left proclaims victory. Within 2 weeks, the left was able to successfully change the narrative of Charlie Kirk to that of Jimmy Kimmel taking a 3-day vacation, and somehow this was the big story.
All right, now he's like got in his 2-minute monologue from all his shows into the debate where, I mean, it's irrelevant, you know, the incidents of changing the narrative. Like, why does that bear on how much violence occurs? I mean, it's all kind of a moot point because it feels like there was a concession, or at least something approaching a concession. But I'm not sure unless you can tie it together here, Rob, why the left is able to change the narrative bears on the incidence of violence, or makes one, maybe you're saying their ability to change the narrative shows that they're more apt to commit violence, but that's going to be something that's a case you're going to have to make.
The studies you cite are frankly bullshit. When you look at the metrics of them, they do things like say that right-wing violence constitutes things like racial violence that occurs in prison, and yet it won't say that black racial violence that occurs is an example of left-wing violence. There's no indication whatsoever that most of these events...
What are the odds that Tom brought and is aware of the studies so he can like pick apart, if possible, these claims?
...are even politically motivated in the first place? Some of the studies from CISIS and the Persecution Project included incidents like this. A Catholic church was vandalized with swastikas, called right-wing violence. A murder calls in prison where we saw a white man and a black man murder a Hispanic man. That's right-wing violence because they used a racial slur for Hispanic people. The truth is we all know where the majority of this violence comes from.
I think we need to define our terms a little bit here. Like, I think part of the problem in doing the counting is in defining the right and left and what we're talking about. Because if you include people who are vaguely right-wing, anyone who's vaguely right-wing, then, yeah, that'll include Nazis and shit. But if you talk about people who are like vaguely left-wing, that'll include communists and stuff. So, like, I think we need to be more like, those terms are so broad that there needs to be like some kind of semantic analysis about what the denominator is here, so we can look at the studies perhaps and come to a consensus on what it is we're talking about.
Even if you could say that more murders occur on the right, I fundamentally disagree and think that those are categorization errors. But the overwhelming preponderance of evidence is that the left commits more violence politically, they get away with it more, and has more change, and that our politicians and our FBI and other law enforcement treat them in the exact inverse proportion, letting them get away with almost impunity, which is why to this day...
We should have a timer of how much time Gibbs is looking at his fucking phone the whole debate.
Getting away with almost impunity of attacking our great ICE enforcement officers. That's it. That's my say.
Woo!
Hey, thank you. I love the audience participation. The audience is hyped. We appreciate it. The debaters are hyped. We appreciate it. Hey, chat, I got some super chats to read. Before we read the super chats, tech team, if you don't mind, I need y'all to get these sound alerts off for the donos. It is impossible for them to hear the debaters in the live debate. I know that's not usually a thing. We will get that fixed. I apologize, chat, going forward. Okay, let's get through these super chats real quick, and then I'll open it back up. Let's see, $5. Damn, Rob, I know you're good, but winning openings before it's even your turn. Based, Rob, is your last name Norwood? I don't know. I guess we're doxing you. All right, let's go. Whatever.
Norwood.
Yeah, whatever. Sorry, sorry for the dox. Anyway, American Nacho, $10. Tom can see the opening. What do now? And then for the last one, we have one more super chat. Long Nate, $10.
Tom!
There, after that scathing opener. All right, I think that's all the super chats. Tech team, please get the sound off for the donos if you don't mind, and we will kick this off going. Let's get going. If I interrupt, it's for logistical or pressing reasons. We got another sound alert. It looks like $50 for Johnny MD, Rob number one. Appreciate the money. Thank you so much. Grid spent a lot of money on this event, make it happen. So make sure y'all give him your money now, because we ain't doing this for your enjoyment. We're doing this.
Well, it is
for whatever. All right, we're chilling. Anyway, all right, let's kick it off. Go ahead, fight.
I think if I added aloe vera to my head, I'm already blinding the camera.
That's true.
Yeah, whatever. Who needs to see? You just need to yell.
Worse, but
I'm so sorry. Let me interrupt.
I had the courtesy.
We got $2 more. I don't even know how to say this. Neurons unite. NTSB. All right, go ahead, Tom. I'm so sorry.
Neurons.
Okay, so I will agree that there are some studies that actually have some weird categorizations and weird ways of doing their studies. But
are you just gonna concede this whole fucking conversation? I concede the studies are fucked. I concede the left does more violence. So you're only gonna fight on the murder specifically.
I tend to look at the one by the Cato Institute that has the best process.
Oh, nice. Okay, so he's seemingly familiar with a study
where they're only going by conviction. So even if somebody does some sort of
yeah, speak up if you don't mind, Tom. Speak up.
We can face this way too a little bit.
Yeah, I don't gotta look at me. Let me pause you one more real quick. It's Tom Wade of the Laura Coat. I guess they like your outfit. I don't know.
Why are you fucking talking, Admiral? No one wants to hear. You just interrupted him to turn
you style and profile.
Shit scuffed.
They told me I looked like a gay pimp earlier, so it can't be any worse than that.
It can't be worse than looking gay.
Yeah, don't worry. I got the baby powder in the backpack.
If I was a prostitute,
what the fuck does that mean? Wait, hang on. You making a cocaine joke? I don't know.
You style and profile it. Listen, they told me I looked like a gay pimp earlier, so it can't be any worse.
Gay
than
pimp.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. I got the baby powder in the backpack.
Rob's like, yeah, gotta do.
if I was a prostitute, I would want a pimp that looks like
I'm
you.
just saying. Listen, ask no question.
A lot of these little innuendos. A lot of men talking about debating each other and going to places to be pimped out and to bang each other.
But go ahead. When you're speaking, just speak up into the mic.
Yeah,
so you're a little more responsible.
I like the Cato Institute studies because they actually go by convictions instead of just by any instance, then trying to figure out that person's life. And sometimes somebody kills themselves after they commit an act of murder, whether or not they actually did it, they didn't get convicted of it. So Cato Institute actually goes.
Well, let me ask you this: obviously, we're in a format we don't have the internet in front of us. That's fine. Do you have a general idea?
You have the most powerful device in front of you. You should know this if you prepared.
In, say, the last 20 years, the Cato Institute study, how many instances of political violence murders do they cite? Do you have a general idea? I'm not holding you to a specific number.
I think it was about 800 something.
800?
800 instances of political violence based on convictions. Okay.
Examples of. Okay, so were there any in the past 4 years that I would know of?
Right-wing violence?
Yes.
Well, there was I believe
say January 6th.
This one is on there, but there's the obviously more recent ones with the Hortmans, the Hoffmans.
Why would that be right wing? The Hortmans.
Yeah, but those aren't convictions, right? We don't have convictions on there. Why would those be right wings? You're asking about the Cato Institute study. If it's not, shouldn't you be answering with respect to that study? I feel like we're off the reservation here, Tom. If you're doing some kind of analysis of the study, it really doesn't make sense to bring up incidents that haven't been done under convictions after you're like, it's really important to me and valuable, the Cato study, because they do convictions and not just mere speculation or something. Yo, what up, Joe Lewis? Verified Joe Lewis.
Guy voted for Trump.
So that qualifies. So if someone votes for a political party and commits an act of murder against a politician or someone affiliated with politics, that's considered violence from the opposite party?
Are we questioning whether or not? No, it's not just voting, but he was categorized as a very ardent.
By whom?
Trump fan, that he was a Republican registered.
It seems to me that he was clearly delusional. He thought that he was ordered to do that by Tim Walz.
Yeah, so there's going to be like some kind of, there needs to be some semantic, I'm sorry, but an analysis of what we mean by these things. Like to have ideologically, I don't know why the Ido's cursed. I made of, yeah, we've been clowning on them a little bit, poking a little bit of fun here on the setup. You know what? We talk shit about word war debate. We talk shit about this a little bit, just having a little fun, but I do enjoy these in-person stuff. So like, you know, all power to them. I do appreciate these kind of events and I like going to them, right? So I'm not saying that this is like lame to do this. I just think it's kind of funny to poke fun. That's all I'm doing. But we really do need to understand like what we mean by these terms. Like, what does it mean for something to be ideologically motivated? Does it play any role in why they did it? Is it a significant role, some kind of threshold that we can assess? And is it all kind of obviated if they're crazy, right? Like, why would it be relevant whether something is ideologically motivated? Well, the guy has issues. Yeah. I assume if you're doing a mass shooting or something, you have issues. That's kind of like something I assume. If you're willing to do these kind of acts of public violence, I think, you know, you have a tendency towards delusions and some kind of mental problems, right? I'm not saying that everyone who does it has it, but that's why I think it really needs to start with knowing what the hell we're talking about. It just feels like we're fighting ghosts at this point, notwithstanding the fact that Tom already seemingly and he shouldn't have like let that sit there. I think Tom is making a mistake because Rob said that he conceded the debate. I said that the minute I heard Tom said that, say what he said in his opening, and Tom hasn't said, of course I haven't conceded the debate proposition, because I understand the debate proposition to be talking about da 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 da. So the fact that he has heard Rob now say you conceded the debate and has not specifically responded to that, I think that is a bad move.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So, like, this seems, if we're going to say that someone that's like some sort of delusional maniac that thinks that a Democratic
I want to be clear. I don't know that he was delusional.
Let me just pause. We got another super chat. I apologize for that. Walt told me he demands the live debate be absolutely serious, professional. That means no comedy, no antics, no shenanigans.
Yeah, you can throw that back at him. You can say, like, don't you think a lot of lefties have mental delusions? The people who do the BLM stuff, like, isn't it your argument that like DEI is literally a mental illusion? Isn't that what you think? So on your own terms, right? Like if you think transgenderism, on your terms, right? Just use his as an internal critique. If you think transgenderism and DEI are mental illnesses, or as many people say, leftism, liberalism, socialism are mental illnesses. That's what they literally say sometimes. Then couldn't I apply that to you? Then it's not ideologically motivated because people are crazy. Don't you think that there's like probably a correlation there as well? Also, some of the more, at least one or two of the major instances of violence in the BLM stuff actually were right-wingers. And one of the ones that Rob brings up a lot were some Bugalo boys who were literally right-wingers trying to bring about like a civil war. So I just think that we need to be clear about our terms and clear about what cases. It's very easy for Rob to go on a little monologue where he's just citing in general, look at all the instances of violence in Portland, et cetera, et cetera. But they run the gamut, right? And just like disorderly public presence. Is it the amount of property damage, the amount of damage, or the amount of people doing it, or the amount of instances? So right now we're flying blind on this conversation, and like no one knows what each other is talking about. I don't fucking know what they're talking about.
Absolutely zero tomfoolery. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Tom. Yeah.
But no, wait a minute. If he wasn't delusional, then he was told by Tim Walz to murder someone. And so you're saying that's an act of right-wing violence?
I'm saying that he is claiming that he was told to do that. I don't know if he's delusional or what. I haven't seen any sort of psych analysis on him to know whether or not he's delusional, but he could just be lying as well.
Okay, let's put it this way. You'll acknowledge this, that the statistics are incumbent upon arrests and convictions.
Yes.
Okay. Does the Cato Institute say that Rittenhouse shooting was a right-wing instance of violence?
Not that
But there's no conviction there. That should be very easy for him to be like, he was never convicted, and so it's not, right?
I know.
Because the last time I debated this, that was the claim that someone tried to make. So the Cato doesn't say that.
No, I think the ADL does. I don't think Cato does.
Can you understand the skepticism when you yourself are admitting the majority of these studies are bullshit?
He didn't say that. He's like but he did say like a lot of these studies are garbage. But the problem is that doesn't really help Rob's case here, right? Because the question is who does it more, and if the studies are bullshit, doesn't advance his case at all. He's just going off of like, I can remember more cases than you, but any kind of like This is basically an empirical question, one in which it needs to, like, the terms need to be defined. And any empirical analysis can't just be based on, like, the ones that stick out in your mind. Because, of course, you know, he just might have a better memory. He might keep track of them closer. The ones related to left-wing violence might stick out in his mind more. The other ones might not make the news as much. And we need to know what we're talking about. So, like, it just, I don't think it advances his case. But optically, I think it makes Tom look worse if he's like, I'm relying on these studies, but most of them are bullshit. But now this Cato one, Rittenhouse, and it kind of proves too much. Yeah, some studies are bullshit. So therefore, the one that I think you have to specifically undermine the Cato one that he's put up. But yeah, I don't think that you need to, like, say they're all bullshit. Let him say that.
I don't know about the majority of them, but
Well,
I
maybe
would
one
like
other
to,
than Cato.
Well, I was going to ask you, can you name me a study that's done by somebody else? Because Cato is right wing. It's a libertarian. Okay, it's a libertarian
Cato is not right wing.
group, but I don't know of any.
Oh, libertarian is not right wing anymore. Isn't, like, libertarian like one of the defining right wing movements? At least economically right wing in the traditional sense, because they want less government intervention. So from the perspective of, like, economically right wing, isn't libertarianism, like, obviously a form of right wingism?
Another study that says that the left commits more acts of political murder.
So the Atlantic came out this year and said, when it comes to this year, the left's committing more violence, which is ridiculous for a left-wing rag
7
like the
murders
Atlantic.
to 6 murders.
Okay, so that's number one. Really, what the 13 political murders? Do you know them?
The 13?
Yes.
I could go over a lot of them. Yeah.
Okay, Hortman's.
Yeah, so obviously the Hortmans.
Okay.
Then there was the who was the guy who killed the CEO at the beginning?
Luigi
of the year?
Mangione.
Luigi Mangione. Yes.
Was that right or left?
That was left. That was, which is why, again, the left does have 7 to the 6 so far this year, and this is the first time.
I don't think 800. I don't think 800 in the past 10 years is going to be anywhere close. I thought the numbers were something when it came to murders, like 118 or something like that in totality.
Oh, sorry, this wasn't 10 years. This was since 2001, I believe.
Yeah, we also need to, like, define the time period too. I hate this question.
Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is, and we'll get to the category errors here, but if we're talking about roughly 100 murders, albeit every murder horrible, right? That's ultimately not a very big problem in our country, in a country of hundreds of millions of people, correct?
Murder is not a big problem in America. Isn't Rob the guy who, maybe he's just talking about ideological murder, but isn't this his whole shtick that every fucking day he goes on and says, they killed Charlie Kirk, they fucking violent, they want you dead. They want you dead. Isn't that his whole shtick? He's like, oh, you know, murder, ideological murder, not really a big deal. Did I just hear him say that?
To the category errors here, but if we're talking about roughly 100 murders, albeit every murder horrible, right? That's ultimately not a very big problem in our country. In a
Could have fooled me, Rob. I feel like you're fucking talking about it every fucking day. I feel like on your lights, it's like one of the biggest problems in America is political violence, and specifically the murder of certain people. They want you dead. The fuck?
country of hundreds of millions of people, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so if we would take those murders and let's say they average out to something like 10 a year, as tragic as they are, and you'll admit that this includes stuff like a white supremacist in prison that kills someone, correct? Okay, how is that an instance of political violence that would tip the scale on anything we should be worried about in a political sense more than left-wing riots that we see on a daily basis?
Before you
Oof. Tom, I feel like he just gave you a layup. You should be able to take advantage of this, Tom. So you should be like, so you're telling me you would rather have those murders, those political murders, where people are being killed on purpose for ideology, which is having chilling effects, which is leading to radicalization and all these other issues, where people are being killed for what they say, that to you, that is like not even comparable to the property damage related to, like, I don't know, the BLM riots or something. Really? You, who's been talking about the Charlie Kirk assassination, you're going to put it down in terms of like valuing lives equivalent to property damage and not take into account like the obvious cultural relevance of the assassinations and murders in terms of our society and radicalization, all that stuff? Like, I think you can really do like a gut check there and be like, come on, Rob. We don't calculate the cost of these events in terms of their their net effect on economic output. And you don't either, because I tune into your stream every fucking day, and I see you fucking complaining about one little old mayor will die. Like one little old no. And listen, I think that analysis is correct. You need to look at these assassinations, the politically motivated assassinations, as a big problem. It's more than just like the death of a person. That's not how we calculate it. And it's certainly, that's why I think people misunderstand the cost of Jan 6. It's not just in terms of like the property damage or the amount of hurt people, physically hurt people, medical expenses, that kind of thing. It's a greater context that gives these events significance, not merely the the figures.
Just quick announcement. Super chats I will be reading every.
Dude, you're not even letting him. Tom, you just got to be like, shut up. You just made a point. You can't let this guy. You should be pouncing. You should be on offense.
30 minutes or so is what we're going to do, just for a point of order so I don't keep interrupting the debate. Go ahead, Tom. I apologize. Go ahead.
Then stop
when
doing
it comes
it.
to a type of protest that I would want to see, it's, let's say the government isn't listening. They're not doing what it is that people are asking.
Did he ask you about what protests you'd want to see, Tom? He's not asking you about like your ideal protest. He's saying, how would you even start to compare the cost of these riots to the murder? And like, he's asking you for your take on that. That's a great opportunity. Like, why are you being on defense and now opening yourself up, right, to potential criticism on like what style of protest you think is optimal? What you should be doing is, oh, really? That's what you think? That political assassination, you think that the cost of the BLM and the riots of property damage is worse than the cost of political assassination in the United States? Is that your opinion? After they almost killed Trump? That's where you go on offense and ask him a question. This just seems like you're laying your hands out and you're just waiting for him to pounce on when you trip over your words or something.
And they have to push back a little bit more in order to feel heard. I would hope vandalism is the type of political violence that they would engage in rather.
I would hope, like, the fact, right? Like, I don't like the posture of this at all. I would hope if they're going to do violence, they would do this violence. Is that what you're called on to to answer? Is which violence is preferable in the context of the left? Now you're just circling on the left's violence and which flavor would be preferable for the left to engage in, which isn't really the proposition.
Than murdering people. And after Trump takes office in 2016 and during his term there, not during Joe Biden's term, and then again during Trump's term, political violence and political murders happen to ramp up on both murders from both the right and the left both times.
Let me ask you this. When January 6th occurred, did you say it was just an act of vandalism?
No.
Why? No one was murdered?
Because it was an attack on our political.
Yeah, you're just letting him badger you with questions. You should have turned around and used Jan 6 as your example. Like, we don't calculate the cost of these. I mean, I even did it without even thinking. Like, yeah, why are you letting him cross-examine you on Jan 6?
Institutions.
So just to be clear, when left-wingers go out and attack ICE officers, you consider that an act of vandalism. But when January 6th occurred, that's somehow more than an act of vandalism.
No, not when they attack ICE officers.
Well, that happens on a nightly basis.
I don't know if it happens on a nightly basis, but I also don't know that those people aren't being held accountable as you claimed earlier.
What are the riots that you think I'm talking about that only resulted in an act of vandalism and not clashes with law enforcement or police? You think that happened even once?
Obviously, or with ICE specifically, because I named earlier Tesla, them keying Tesla,
sure,
blowing up Tesla.
Okay, so the riots would be different than just, yes, you're right, the left also engages in active vandalism.
Most of those weren't riots. Most of them were just like wild businesses were closed. They were going and messing up Tesla.
Like the LA ICE attacks?
Again, are we talking about Tesla?
No. Let me be clear.
Okay.
The Tesla stuff, yes, are acts of vandalism. I'm making a humorous point that it's funny. There are so many left-wing violent actions that we have to be distinct between. Well, the ones where they're just attacking Tesla owners, as opposed to the ones where they're talking Tesla manufacturers, as opposed to the riots they're having against ICE, as opposed to the riots that they're having against sort of law enforcement in places like Portland, etc.
Tom looks a little nervous.
I'm talking specifically about the riots that we see occurring almost on a weekly basis, we'll put it that way, on places like Portland. These are absolutely attacking law enforcement. In fact, we can see on almost a daily basis now out of a place like Chicago, a place like Seattle, Portland, or California, that ICE agents are being rammed with vehicles over and over and over. All of this in an attempt to change the lawful executive orders of Donald Trump to deport people that have infiltrated.
That's a great opportunity right there Turn this into a debate about immigration. Turn this into, you don't have to concede, Tom. I don't know, man. Like, you need to have some kind of theory of the case here if you're going to argue on the metrics. And if you just let him like start to list off incidents and you're not listing off incidents in the mind of the audience, right? It's just letting them think there's all this like there's no right-wing violence, all left-wing violence. And what you should be doing is calling into question the notion that we ought to use this kind of like, that we shouldn't have a methodology other than just asking Rob what he considers to be violence. And so this whole thing is fucked. This whole thing is fucked. So you just need an out, Tom. Because you're just letting him spout off instances of violence from the left, what he labels a left, what he labels violence, his characterization of these incidents. And you're not calling into question his characterization of incidents. You're not calling into question his labeling of it in the sense of what their purpose ultimately is. And you're not adding incidents from the right. So I think it's like, right now, Tom, not loving it. But there's a really cool little sneaky escape hatch. Just hit him on the immigration stuff. It's not, technically speaking, relevant, but right now, I don't think this is going as Tom expected.
Our country illegally. Now, where's the example of right-wingers having any sort of policy effect whatsoever using acts of political violence? All you could point to is skinheads that kill people in prison and some lunatics that horribly, yes, kill people. But it's not a serious attempt to change policy like we see occurring with the left.
You say it's a lawful execution of the law, but the deportations haven't been, which is why the left has lost trust in the Trump administration.
Yeah, actually, as I say that, you shouldn't go there, right? Because that's not actually the debate. But he's not comfortable right now in the actual debate.
When they start shipping off a bunch of people to CCOT and find out that a bunch of them actually had
Rob loves this little, when you hit him on something, sometimes he can't resist but take the bait. He can be very easy to bait. And sometimes he doesn't take a step back to think about like the greater context.
visas or green cards, and they weren't supposed to have been deported, like Kilmar Abrego Garcia. There's a bunch of people who were shipped off and deported that weren't.
And this actually might be a bait from Rob, right? Because he could just say, listen, you can have your own view on that, but it sounds, Tom, like you're justifying the violence, not like you're disputing that it occurred. Right? And that, I think, is like a powerful thing he could say there. Sounds like you're justifying why the violence occurs, and not you really need to know what you're talking about and just be super narrow on it and have a game plan here.
Not supposed to be. And when the Trump administration was made aware of this, they said that they weren't going to bring those people back.
Did they?
Some of them they have, yes.
Okay, so let me just see if I follow your train of thought here. If I believe that the executive is doing something that I
Oh, yeah, and Rob caught on to that. I think that's good instinct by Rob.
Feels unlawful, I'm entitled to somehow use an act of violence.
That's really good. See, his instinct is right there. And that might have actually been a trap that he laid there. That's really good.
Prevent that. So, for example, if I thought that my neighbor that's a blue
now optically, right, it looks like he's justifying. He was another lefty. You know, he conceded the bear right away, and then he just started justifying violence.
Grandma that walked through the velvet ropes on January 6th, when the FBI comes to arrest her, I could box in their cars with vehicles. I could attack them because I feel that it's unlawful. It's a violation of her civil rights.
Yeah.
And he's on an island. He's like, no, I didn't say that. I was just responding to that point.
You felt like the government was coming to kidnap your grandmother.
Oh, and now he actually does. Oh, shit. He's doubling down. He's doubling down. That's like the worst thing he could do. He's like, if you feel like ICE is coming after your grandma, you should be able, like, because then it's just like, okay, so on Jan 6, if you feel like your country's being taken away from you, that is just, good tactics here by Rob.
Feel that it's unlawful. It's a violation of her civil rights.
Yeah, if you felt like the government was coming to kidnap your grandmother and you thought that this was unlawful.
Oh, he loves where this is going. Look at him nodding.
And you did nothing about it, I would be disappointed.
Do you think?
Oh, he said, I would be disappointed if you didn't do anything about it. Dude, do you know what debate you're in? Now you're just advocating that, like, you're essentially conceding and you're saying the left is honorable in deploying political violence. I would be disappointed if they didn't. It's a debate about whether it occurs and who does it more, Tom. Come on, man.
That the Trump deportations are unlawful?
So I just named some.
Okay. What,
And now he's like, so you think that the Trump stuff, what they're doing is unlawful? And so, and you're just, also, if this wasn't clear, also, like, just the posture of Rob being the only one asking the questions and framing the discussion, you're just like a little leaf in the wind. It's taking you wherever it wants it to take you. I mean, you know, the issue is not having a game plan, not drilling down on these terms, meaning because from afar it really just looks like you're not contesting the proposition, you're just basically justifying the violence.
act of violence are you taking against them?
Why they don't engage in like ICE raids around me?
But you just implied I would be a coward if I didn't prevent.
For your own grandmother? Yes.
I said my name.
For your grandmother? Come on, Tom. I said grandmother, not nephew. Special grandma exception.
So I just named some.
Okay, what act of violence are you taking against them?
Why they don't engage in like ICE raids around me?
But you just implied I would be a coward if I didn't prevent.
For your own grandmother? Yes.
I said my neighbor who's a grandma, nonetheless.
Okay,
so fuck her, right?
Well, no, I would say yes.
Oh my God, that's a good line from Rob.
If it happened around me, if it happened around me, yes. If I'm in a
If it happened around, okay. So if what you took to be an illegal deportation around you of anybody, so now you're extending your statement of like justified self-defense against the government, lawfully executing query, right? In the government's estimation, lawfully carrying out some kind of deportation proceeding, some kind of federal law enforcement function. That zone of justified self-defense is extended to people physically around you, not just your grandma, but neighbor who is a grandma or anyone who's in your vicinity.
Like we've seen people inside of stores where armed and masked and like, you know, they don't.
Yeah, but Tom, like what kind of world is that when you say, yeah, we should let pedestrians come up with their own, determine for themselves when self-defense against law enforcement is justified? It's kind of unworkable, right? Everyone has a line collectively, I guess, when tyrannical stuff keeps coming, but advocating that as a system, you start to look like you're advocating for anarchy. And again, this is all to Rob's favor. He's just pressing Tom on like justifications for violence from the left. And when Tom personally would use violence against law enforcement. Oh no, and look at the expression from Admiral Gibbs. We love Tom.
Have any markings saying police or ICE or anything, go in and start grabbing people. If I saw just random, regular clothed people grabbing somebody and trying to grab them out of a store and drag them out, yes, I would obviously try to stop them. And I think.
Oh no, what's Rob gonna do?
The Second Amendment exists for situations like that.
Do you think that it's predictable? This is good.
Wait, hold on. I got two questions. One, if it was your grandma, would you fight them?
No, probably not.
Okay, let me.
I would not defend. And that I think is that I think is not a hard bullet for Rob to bite. No, I wouldn't unilaterally strike out at the cops if they arrested my grandma.
Ask you this: you said you would grab them outside of a store, coming out of a store. Would you do that if it was just you're? I guess listen, I'm Hispanic, so preface it before I.
He's Hispanic. He's para la cultura. Admiral Gibbs, you're an hermano. I didn't know that.
Say this Twitch and YouTube as a Hispanic, I can say this. Listen, so if you just saw someone you thought was brown and was Hispanic and they're getting grabbed by ICE, would you just?
Oh, please don't buy this framing. You never said anything about race, Tom. So please don't buy into that. Please say something about that setup.
Intervene, or would you like want to
with the Second Amendment? He said,
yeah. Would you
with a gun?
Them? Yeah, I guess what I'm asking is,
how
do you know it's not local law enforcement enforcing ICE? How do you know that it's not like a drug dealer? I mean, I'm Hispanic. I look whiter than you and Rob. So like,
local law enforcement does have to present identification when they come in, whereas ICE
not to you as a spectator.
That is why, Tom? Why?
Hold on, let him
Yes,
answer.
they
if you
do.
don't mind, Rob.
What are you talking about? That's absurd.
Hold on, let him answer. Go ahead, answer, and then we'll go back.
Yeah, of course. If other people or bystanders are watching somebody get kidnapped, I think there is an obvious expectation that they would step in if they see somebody kidnapping people.
That's
that,
horseshit.
that I'm supposed to assume that that's a police officer.
You're supposed
It's insane.
You're supposed to stay out of it. Right,
Oh.
the law enforcement they are under no obligation to provide bystanders any sort of credentials whatsoever. And the idea that you're saying that you would use firearms if you saw someone that didn't properly identify themselves to you would use firearms to prevent them from a lawful execution of what may well be a lawful execution of law is absolutely fucking insane. I can't believe you're saying that right now.
The fact that you think you would watch plainclothes people that you have no reason to believe that they're officers come in and grab somebody and drag them out, and that you think you should just stand.
Yeah, but there could be other ways to know. Yeah, I mean, like, Rob should be able to dodge. Be like, yeah, I mean, if there was no other indication that they were law enforcement, if they didn't identify themselves at all, and if there was no reason to believe that they were executing a lawful function, then maybe I would grant it to you. But in the you can just like grant that, and I think he'll be able to dodge this. Let's see.
And there and watch as an American citizen with no duty to protect your own neighborhood or people around you. That sounds insane.
The
That's
idea,
ridiculous.
when you say plainclothes, I just want to be clear. When you say plainclothes, you're telling me when you see these videos of ICE, you think that those
Wait. Contend with Rob's argument, not how he looks. I wasn't commenting on his appearance. The only comment I made about Rob's appearance was at the start. I said he looked good. I thought that he had a good outfit on, and that it fit his aesthetic. I don't know why you're saying I'm talking about his arguments, and I also don't disagree with Rob here that we don't want to encourage a world in which there's like unilateral violent resistance from like bystanders on lawful functions. Now, I'll grant Tom, there will be some cases in which there's no indicia that these are government agents in the slightest. And I will advocate strongly that we have laws that require such identification be presented for plainclothes officers. Oh, the chatter was talking to you? Yeah, got it. Appreciate it. Guys, if there's some kind of like snarky comment you're making to someone in the chat, use the @ Otherwise, I might think that you're talking about me and I might get one guy. Gotcha. Yeah, he was talking to someone else.
might just be a random group of gangs that are putting someone in that vehicle with lights on top of it.
Yes. Well,
I mean-
no. Lots of times there are no lights on top of them.
This is
What
absolutely
are you talking about? There are no lights
If you
on
were
top.
Daniel, do you think Daniel Penny should have been arrested?
Oh no. Oh no.
Whether or not I should be
Oh no. Oh no.
arrested, I'm glad that he was found innocent. But whether or not they should have adjudicated that in court, probably.
If they arrested him there, would you have stopped them?
This is frankly a more interesting conversation than the debate proposition, especially if Rob's the problem with Rob is I don't think he's made his case at all either, because he hasn't provided an argument I think that's compelling other than saying these are the cases I've heard about, and we don't need to have a kind of rigorous academic or study-based approach or some kind of analytical structure to how we quantify or qualify the incidents of violence. But so yeah, I think this is a more interesting conversation. But even in this kind of tangent, which really is now just a tangent where Rob can ask 20 questions of Tom, I think Tom's getting bruised up a little bit here.
No.
Why not?
If they were in plain clothes, I would have, yeah.
You could have.
Yeah.
You would have. So just to be clear, anytime a plainclothes officer executes any sort of warrant and you say, show me identification, they don't, you're using your firearm to stop.
We're assuming they're officers. Again, you're presupposing these people
That's
are
right.
officers. Yes, I'm not.
Okay,
Why
so
would
then I just want to be clear. You acknowledge that even before Donald Trump.
I don't doubt that they're copycat criminals, and I would totally advocate in favor of mandating this by law. That way we know if they don't provide ID or whatever, or if they're not identifying themselves, that there are penalties and that we can assume like negative things. So I wouldn't be in favor. But he needs to calibrate his statement saying like if there are other indicia, this is law enforcement. Yeah, of course. I mean, at some level, right? Like, yes, you will. If something looks like an obvious kidnapping, you're going to step in. And when there's no indicia that this could be a lawful function. And unfortunately, that will be like a kind of case by case analysis. Maybe we can make some kind of general ethical rule, but yeah.
And without ICE, there are plainclothes officers all around this country. You acknowledge it?
No.
Of course, that's true.
You mean like undercover agents?
Yes, there
who are
could be
doing the
undercover. There could be
investigation?
people that are.
Yes,
could
but
be
they
off
don't make
duty.
arrests when they're doing those things.
That's
They
not
don't-
true. They absolutely have the authority to do so and have
they
done
do,
so.
yeah.
I don't know where that is, but yes.
They do, Tom. You're contesting that plainclothes officers have made arrests before?
In Georgia, where I'm from, yes, you cannot be off duty or in a plane.
So I can tell you just one example that I've seen, I guess recently, 5 years ago, which was there were undercovers at a sporting event, a major sporting event. There were people fighting. The undercovers handcuffed them, take them back to the car, right? If you were in my position there, playing a little beer pong, about to go in and watch the game, you pull out your gun and you start taking names. That's what you're going to do?
Obviously, yes. You would
I mean,
try
that's
to-
Obviously, yes.
It's insane.
Oh no, what are these bullet bites, Tom?
You
insane.
just assume that
There is a live studio audience. Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
these people have
What if
good
they were?
intentions.
What if they were identified?
Well, I want to ask you, why would you assume that anytime, like, because now the idea is that people could just come and kidnap people in front of you, and you would just assume they're police officers and let
I
them-
suppose that if I would use my context clues, and if it looked beyond a shadow of a doubt that these people were with some sort of law enforcement agency, I would.
Right, and I think this is good from Rob too. He's establishing a rule of reasonability here, which is if I, up to a certain threshold, were convinced that these were fake people based on other context clues, I would step in. But it would be a high threshold. And I think that's unfortunately the right approach. Unfortunately. I'm not saying you shouldn't like go up and like inquire, hey, what's going on? Identify yourself. Like I don't think that that's necessarily out of order. But before you use lethal violence on a person, yeah, I'm going to have to need a high threshold here, guys.
Deign to interfere, let alone with a firearm. The fact that you would with the firearm. Let me ask you this.
And he's nodding. You just accept it. No, you'd be like, no, of course there's limits here, but you need to clarify what those limits are. You need to clarify exactly like the standard of evidence that you would, certainly not just the mere fact that they fail to identify themselves would cause you to start blasting. Anyway, I start blasting, but you're letting him control the framing here in the standard of proof. And by comparison, he's looking very reasonable.
What if they were identified, but you still thought it was illegal? Would you use firearms to stop them?
No, I'd probably call the police at that point. But like in the instant when this person could be dragged off before the police could get there, yes, I would want those people to stay there until law enforcement could show up.
So we're at the 30 mark. I'm gonna read 2 super chats, and I have a question for you, Ron, based off your last statement. Let me read the first super chat. It is from Johnny MD. What riot? Cities burning. Open your eyes, sir. Rob, number 1. And then we have a second super chat.
What the fuck was that? Did anyone understand what the fuck he's saying? I know it's on 1.5, but
it's from Hall Longnate. It is easy to be a hypothetical hero living in a world where it's not at your door. Let me ask you this, Rob. You're a conservative.
You didn't even finish the fucking question. Are you drunk off of a Truly?
It is easy to be a hypothetical hero living in a world where it's not at your door. Let me ask you this, Rob. You're a conservative. You're on the right. So say you did think something was illegal. It's like, I don't know, they kicked in my door on an illegal no-knock warrant. Would I be within my rights to shoot at them, even though I did nothing wrong and they got the wrong house?
I would recommend.
It could be, but that's just a different situation.
No knock.
And by the way, these are questions that Tom should be asking of Rob.
Warrant's a little
I would
different.
recommend not, but
Let me explain. No knock warrant's a little different because you could be startled and not know what was going on. I'm not a fan of them, right?
And that's the wrong
This is
house.
different.
Mistake.
Listen, this is different than this is the same advice that shitty fucking YouTubers give to Black Americans when they're like, if law enforcement pulls you over, tell them to fuck off. You did nothing wrong. You're within your right. And then they get shot.
Yeah, it actually does sound a little bit like that. Like who are these people? I'm an Article 5 free inhabitant, the sovereign citizens. A little bit of it, yeah.
That's what happened. You're literally the advice you're giving right now is going to result
Well, the
in
reason I
someone
asked you
getting
that,
fucking
Rob,
killed. That's
is
what's going to
because
happen.
there was a case in Texas that was just decided it was an African American gentleman. They kicked in his door, he shot a cop, killed him, but it was the wrong house. I mean, if they kicked in my door,
Yeah, that could be reasonable self-defense for sure. But that's not what's being talked about here. What's being talked about here is out in public where there's at least some indicia that this is not, right, like a burglar or a kidnapper in that situation. And we just need to like, it's actually like Tom's point here that in some cases you would retaliate. That's not the issue. The issue is he's failing to specify the level of certainty that he would need and kind of making it seem like the mere failure to identify to a spectator or third party is sufficient grounds to start blasting. That's the big problem here. Not that you can't find some hypotheticals where, unfortunately, there could be legal deadly self-defense against a cop who is exercising law. Like, that can happen. There's nothing incompatible with there being deadly self-defense against a cop performing a lawful function. There are cases in which that would be justified, unfortunately. And that's one of the reasons why the no-knock warrant stuff is controversial, whatever. The problem for Tom from a debate perspective, I think, is failure to identify those limits, the standard of proof, and letting it just be kind of said that as a de facto rule if you don't sufficiently identify yourself to third-party bystanders, then you can start blasting no matter what.
I'm shooting first.
It's a completely different scenario than what we're talking about. If your door bursts open and you don't know and you're defending yourself, that's different than if you are aware that it's law enforcement, but you think that you're being arrested erroneously. My advice is to comply.
Oh, and yeah, I forgot about that too, because Tom went a little further. Tom didn't just say in terms of identification purposes. He was saying like for Kilmar's case and when the administration is doing illegal stuff. So it wasn't just, ooh, that's bad too for Tom, because like, sorry, Tom. Love you, Tom. Love the Tom tent. But, you know, this is all constructive criticism. Right? We all support you here. But Tom was kind of, I don't know if he directly said it, but kind of intimating, because it was juxtaposed with the Kilmar stuff, that it wasn't just an issue of misidentity or misidentification, but also an issue of the underlying illegality of the Trump administration's substantive immigration policies. That's how we got to this in the first place. And that would be an even bigger problem, right? Because like the place to suss that out, unfortunately, for the people who are being abused by the administration, is not like with guns. It's in the courtrooms and it's in the ballot box. And so, yeah, I think it's wise of Rob to like re-bring that up.
Okay,
and then have your day in court.
Let me read one more super chat and then we'll turn it back to y'all. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. Hold on, Nate.
And this is true, by the way, even when cops detain you unlawfully, which they sometimes do, or search you unlawfully. You know, they could be doing something illegal. Doing something illegal doesn't give you the right to deadly self-defense yourself, right? The cop could be blatantly violating the Constitution, and the time to argue that is in front of a judge with your lawyer.
$, like the stream, idiots. All right, go ahead. Thank you so much for that.
Well, the last thing you said is if you think it's an officer and you're being arrested erroneously, that is not the circumstance that I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who.
Okay, that's good. That's good. It seemed that, so this is the kind of stuff I want Tom to do more of, is to not let these kinds of, if that's not what you meant, you need to rebut that like right away. Be like, I'm just talking about misidentification. That's what I'm talking about. So that's good, but I wish it were for more stuff. I wish it were for the point about the concession in the first instance on the violence. I wish it were for some of these different cases where he's like, yeah, all the studies kind of suck, and I don't really know, but like, I wish he was directly rebutting the strongest rhetorical arguments that Rob is presenting.
Look like regular people who are just dragging somebody off and could be gangsters, could be mobsters, could be
an absolute asinine, absurd position. And again, what we see is so much of arguing with Democrats is them pretending to not understand the fucking truth. There is a 95% chance that when you see ICE, who's wearing these masks, who's wearing the camo, who has handcuffs, who's in this big group, you fucking know that it's a law enforcement action. And what you're doing is...
I agree with you on the context clues. I'm saying that these people are in plain clothes, wearing camo, wearing like belts with like tasers and stuff on them. That is very different than some of these videos where it is people who are just walking in and grabbing people, zip tying them and dragging them out.
My advice to you, Tom, is stop being
That's gonna be snarky.
Howard, you know the areas these are occurring in. Go put your fucking big boy britches on and go stop them.
Well, again, my statement was on whether or not you're standing there and watching as a passerby.
But what's the difference?
So go there, Tom. So go there.
There's a major difference on whether or not I'm going to go out and look for people who are possibly going to arrest somebody somewhere that I have no idea.
Do you know where these plainclothes actions are occurring?
I know that I see the videos when they get uploaded and that people are standing there asking them, "Are you guys ICE? Are you guys ICE? Are you guys ICE?"
How many times do you think it occurs in this country a year that people in public go into like restaurants, grocery stores, and groups of men kidnap people in plain day? How many times do you think that happens a year?
I don't know, but I do know that I've seen a woman getting grabbed inside of a Walmart and dragged out, and numerous guys stopped the people
by law enforcement or by
out. No, just by guys standing.
So that happened once. Okay, that's your.
Rob is in complete control of the conversation. He's setting the ground rules. He's asking all the questions. Tom is purely playing defense on conceitedly small number of instances. Not that it isn't important to have these identification rules, but that's not even the point that he's hammering down. It's kind of, he's kind of boxed himself into a corner where he's like, well, I guess I would be fighting all these ICE people with my bare hands and guns if I only knew where they were. Like, why even let that be the framing on a discussion about political violence, tendencies?
Argument. What groups of people do you think would be likely to do that?
Gangsters, most likely. That's the example that I
cartel members?
Sure.
So you're for the deportations?
Yes, definitely.
You are?
Of course.
Okay. Well, we wouldn't have.
And so now you're conceding that you're in favor of Trump's deportation policy, or at least that's what it sounds like. This is the true liberal surrender hands.
Have to worry about
I
these
voted for Joe
nefarious.
Biden, who has the record for a 4-year deportation. So
Really?
first time in
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Really?
deportations,
Because
yes.
we consider turnaround deportations.
Well, yes, those would also be deportations, but they're stopping people from coming over the border.
They did not.
illegally.
You are aware that under Biden, the border was the worst that it's ever been by any objective measure.
That is the claim. We needed more people, but that's a different
But no,
topic.
You see, it's very interesting. And like you illustrate
And so now you walk into a discussion about the border. Are you prepared for the discussion, Tom?
something here. I'm glad we decided on this topic because what you illustrate is that actually, despite all of your fucking hullabaloo, you don't really give a shit about the democratic process. If you don't like the results of it, like someone like Donald Trump and how they're carrying out the law, then you're like, well, I'll stop it with firearms. But the truth of the matter is that you
Why don't you speak up, Tom? Be like, no, I didn't fucking say that. You're a liar. I never said that. You got to stop him, bro.
have no fucking right more to do that than I would have to prevent people I thought were engaged in all sorts of unlawful activity under Joe Biden.
And yeah, I mean, like, you wouldn't say, would you, that because there's some disorderly conducts and or whatever, the even smashing into buildings. This is what I was debating often, like with these people who are like deadly self-defense just of property. I understand deadly self-defense where there's a nexus with property and life, such as when you're crossing the threshold into someone's home, right? That's something that I very much agree with. But like, I never have been in favor of deadly self-defense of just property, right? Of just property. And yeah, it wouldn't be a good idea. One of like the main criticisms of Kyle Rittenhouse from the left is not from the self-defense perspective. It's like, why was he there in the first place defending property, right? Putting aside the legality of that, when you take this kind of look of like, well, defend yourself, defend people around you, kind of sounds like you're opening the door for right-wingers to respond, right?
Example, the people that are getting their doors kicked in for protesting abortion centers is fucking repugnant. And yet I wouldn't deign to suggest that if I was the neighbor with the firearm, I would have opened fire on these law enforcement officers.
But when we're talking about whether or not Trump actually did end up bringing back people who were illegally deported, the fact that he did was after like 2 to 3 months of protests happening.
That just doesn't seem responsive to the point that Rob is making. It sounds like Tom is just, at this point, grasping for something to shit on Trump for. Rob's point has to do with like the propriety of advocating for self-help in the context of government action with which you don't agree. And Tom, even though he stresses that he's not making the point that deadly self-defense would be justified in response to like conceitedly unlawful policy, is once again just going after something on Trump, which doesn't really seem typically responsive. To the extent that it's responsive, it seems to be undermining his claim to the contrary, that what he was talking about was just misidentification, not substantive disagreements in policy. So
Happening day after day.
So what?
So these are things that are actually making changes. These are things that are actually
So
putting
the
pressure
political
on the
violence is working.
administration.
and that unfortunately, when you put on a limit on a conversation about political violence, that's just the question he's going to ask. These are layups, man. You should see this coming, bro.
These are things that are actually making changes. These are things that are actually
So
putting
the
pressure
political
on the
violence is working.
administration. I don't know. It's political violence. I said protests. I said protests. You said political violence.
Was there violence occurring? Were there riots in LA?
Well, hold on. Just to be clear, I'm
Just say yes.
disagreeing when you keep saying the lawful deportations, that when we agree that some of these are unlawful, and when you say afterwards,
So now you're just going on the unlawfulness of the deportation. Like when you're fighting on the lawfulness or unlawfulness of the deportation, it's just a collateral issue, man. Unless you want to make it relevant to the violence argument, you just keep arguing that the violence may be justified, and you're kind of giving Rob more sticking power to land on this. You're just saying the violence is justified. When you keep coming back to the substantive illegality or the immorality of the underlying government policies in a conversation about political violence, and just, oh no, but I'm not saying that it relates, then like, what are you talking about? You're just giving more rope for Rob to hang you with.
well, they chose to bring them back after saying they were going to refuse over and over and over. The fact that they say they're refusing is enough for people to get out there and start distrusting ICE and the Trump administration to do things legally and right the first time.
You're basically saying it's Trump's fault for creating a culture of fear, and I think that that's absolutely correct. But I just don't understand why it would relate to the kind of point that Rob. You're basically saying it's natural for, of course, people to be more fearful in this context, which I would agree with. but what we're talking about here is not like whether, of course, people will be more justifiably fearful of illegal action. It's what would we think is reasonable in response.
Just to clarify, for my own sake, are you arguing? Oh, we also got super chat, so I'll do both. We'll read super chat. There's no super chat. He just donated money. So thank you for the donate, James Life Talks. Let me ask you this real quick. Tom, are you saying that these deportations are political violence? Is that your claim?
No.
Okay. What are
And even Gibbs is kind of like trying to this is good instincts from the moderator here. I like this. Good action by Gibbs. Disentangle the relevance of his objections to Trump's substantive immigration policy and to what extent that it relates to political violence. And so he's like, okay, so this is not political violence. And so Gibbs is kind of like, well, what are you talking about? So Gibbs is listening more than I gave him credit for. Sorry for calling you a gay pimp.
you claiming then? in
So
regards to
initially,
this?
he started talking about the political violence that was being engaged in by the left, saying that this is property destruction, and that the amount of property destruction from the left outweighs the small amount of murders from the right. And I was saying that if people are actually unhappy with their government, property destruction is the type of protest I would rather them engage in than political murders.
I have a
Is that the question? Fucking Tom, is the question what you would prefer? Is the question what Tom prefers in terms of violence, or is the question who does more violence? The argument you have to make is we should weigh the magnitude of the violence when we're talking about how much violence. It shouldn't, you got to make that connection a little bit clearer, because it sounds like you're just saying like, if they're going to be violent, if the left's going to be violent, I'd rather they would just be doing like vandalisms and shit. But also, again, there have been assaults on officers, man. So you kind of sound like you're, oh, which is this cute little, like, throwing a rock at a fucking police car from a overhang where people can fucking die. Right? And so you gotta inoculate yourself on that, dude. Protect yourself from those insinuations and make it a little cleaner and say, when I calculate political violence and which group has a more tendency to political violence, I obviously am going to have a multiplier regarding the magnitude of the violence, both in terms of its cultural significance and in terms of its, effects on radicalism and the act itself, the nature of the act itself, which we consider most people, their introspective intuition would be murder worse than property offenses, right? Yeah, there have been assaults on officers. You just gotta, this is like, a very important connection that is implicit in what Tom is saying. That is the connection between the amount of violence and the magnitude. And you can make it more explicit here, I think, and say, when I talk about a prevalence for violence, my notion of a prevalence for violence is taking into account the magnitude of that violence and its significance in other respects, not just the total count, because there are things that are trivially violent, like I suppose pushing someone is violent by the most general definition of it. But when I talk about the violence of groups, my notion of that is colored by the magnitude of the violence and its significance. And again, it just grounds down into like a semantic analysis of what we mean by those terms. Because if all we mean is any particular moment of violence is like a violent encounter, if there's a group of people who are all like surrounding an ICE officer, does every person there count towards the violence? Or is that one incident? Not clear.
Follow-up question. I'm going to read one more super chat from Johnny MD. $10. ICE agents are being targeted by left-wing extremists and families as well. I have no idea why they wear face masks. Sarcasm. P.S. You're not illegally deport an alien. They are legal. To be fair to our leftist friends, I also call people that were, what was it? What's the organization? Antifa, that wear mask pussies. So I can see why they would argue that ICE agents are pussies for masks. But I can see how it would be different. However, let's go to you one more follow-up question. What would the Trump administration have to do to beat political violence? What is the line for you?
For it to be political violence?
Yes, because you're claiming the right makes more political violence.
I don't know, because when it comes to like the government, technically,
You should know. You should know what you mean by political violence. You're coming in a fucking debate about political violence. So you should have a notion of what you mean by that term. If you're coming in a debate to say who does more political violence, it is required that you have a notion of political violence. You can't not have a notion of political violence. That's like watching a debate about like pizza and like, I don't know what pizza is. Maybe there are some hard edge cases where it's like, okay, this is like a pizza bagel or something. I don't know if that's a bagel, but like you need to have some strong notion of political violence, I think, in a concept. And the first words out of your mouth shouldn't be, I don't know. It should be, this is what I understand political violence to be. It's violence that has, as at least one of its significant motivating factors, ideology, regardless of the mental illness or including mental illness or taking that into account. Like there needs to be some notion of political violence that you're onboarding to come to this debate. And the first words out of your mouth when you're kind of like pressed on it shouldn't be, I don't know.
And to be political violence?
Yes, because you're claiming the right makes more political violence.
I don't know, because when it comes to like the government, technically any sort of like action or even like upholding a law is technically a type of political violence. But
what? Okay. Then what the fuck? That is just totally... So government, anything the government does is political violence if they're enforcing it with law enforcement? That's absurd, Tom. That's not what people mean by the term. Jesus Christ. And this is just fertile ground for Rob to make you look like an asshole. Because you're going to be like, oh, so you would say that the left, if they had more years as the president, they're engaged in more political violence because they're just doing more things because they have a longer tenure. Oh, God. Disaster. Disaster. Bad. No. Don't say you could argue that. It's, what do I mean by this, right? It's not saying you can argue this. You could argue anything. You could argue that the sky is made of cheese. You could argue this. Like, what do you mean by political violence? When you say the right does more political violence, although I think he said the left does more political violence in the first sentence of the fucking debate. What do you mean by that, Mr. Tom?
Where I would draw the line on when it becomes like unethical political violence would be whether...
Oh, so now we're not talking about political violence. And this is playing into Rob's hand again. What he's saying is unethical political violence. Well, it's the debate about the prevalence of ethical political violence and unethical political violence. I haven't seen this debate, haven't pre-watched it all. I know Rob must be pouncing on this. If he doesn't pounce, I'll be disappointed in Rob. Because he's basically saying there's certain types of ethical political violence that he considers justified. And maybe he's referring to government action. But just like when most people hear political violence, they're just not incorporating that notion, government action. They're usually not pricing that into what they mean by it. Now, you could define the term such that it included government action or like illegal government action or corrupt government action, but then you're just going to need to cash all that out and have a very clear notion of your meaning.
Or not they're following the law in the case where they are deporting people illegally and then saying they're going to...
And again, you're harping on the illegality and corruption of Trump's policies, which of course I agree with Tom on that. Obviously I agree with Tom on that, but you're just making it seem when you talk about unethical political violence, well, is Tom talking about ethical, the contrast between ethical and unethical, and then going again once more to what Trump's policies are, which grant their illegality, corruption, whatever, just makes it seem like you're justifying the violence that's occurring, and you're kind of, again, conceding the debate.
Refuse to bring them back. Yeah, I would say that probably is an example.
Okay. So, okay, let's...
Ignore the audience. Just keep going.
Yeah. So let's do this. Do you think there were people detained under every president that were unlawful?
Oh, no. Yeah. Right, so Rob's strategy now, it seems, right, is like saying, is to try to both make his Trump critiques them. It's actually, I think, an intuitive and smart approach here. He's trying to trivialize the Trump policy criticism, right? He's trying to trivialize that by saying this isn't really a big deal. And then also dovetail it with maybe getting Tom to bite the hook on, I guess it would be justified to use violence against Obama's ICE enforcement or something and make him look like an asshole. So, and Tom is going to need to like really hammer down on, no, this is different in kind or whatever. But I think this is a good strategy from Rob, because Rob is trying to fight on every front here, but there's a way in which he can direct these kinds of questions. Remember, Rob's the one asking all the fucking questions here. How many questions has Tom asked? One or two, maybe? Do you remember any questions Tom asked? But the way Rob is asking this question, it opens up a bunch of different ways he can make Tom look ridiculous depending on his answer. if he grants that it's like the same in substance, then he can really hammer in, okay, so you would use political violence on Obama's ICE or whatever, right? If he doesn't, he can really stretch and test his limits on immigration policy and what's different now versus 4 years ago. And all of this is pretty much making this like a test examination on what Tom knows and doesn't know about immigration. And so it's going to rise and fall according to Tom's specific domain knowledge on immigration and enforcement, which isn't a good position to be, because I don't know that Tom came into this discussion preparing for a debate on immigration or how much domain expertise he has on the differences in the administrations. So it's fertile ground, and anytime when there is equivalence made between presidents in terms of their policies, Rob always has that violence argument waiting in the background to just hammer him with. So I think good instincts, good pressing here by Rob.
Detained?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So don't really see much of a difference here other than it's a little pet project of the left.
Really, you don't see a difference between them finding out that they're illegally deporting people and saying, I'm refusing to bring these people back, and allowing them to. That's not what I said. I said they are refusing to bring them back. You keep skipping over that part. They did say that.
All right, let me
Bondi
instruct
said
you.
it
Who's they?
numerous times.
Let me instruct you
Stephen
what
Miller said it
Let me
numerous times.
instruct you-
Donald Trump said it numerous times.
Let me instruct
J.D.
you what they
Vance
said
it numerous
specific.
times.
So for
I like that he's standing tall on this point about the illegality.
those who don't know, Kilmar Grayo Garcia was an illegal that was here that bullshitted to get a claim that he couldn't be sent back to his own country.
He should be fighting on this. I mean, I would recommend a debate about Kilmar. I mean, he already conceded this to me in our discussion that the Kilmar stuff was bad. I hope he's prepared for all this.
Because he was selling fucking taquitos or some bullshit when he was 13 years old in his country of
How do
origin.
you know it's bullshit? How do you know? Wait, so Tom should interrupt him right there and be like, hold up. How do you know it's bullshit? Do you have any proof? And then you get him to concede. Rob, yes or no, do you have proof right now as you sit here that this is a bullshit story? Do you have proof of that, yes or no? You need to stop him. This is why interruptions, I think, are important. You can't just let these people monologue. And get them to concede issues of knowledge, of what they know, what they can prove in the moment, and mess with their flow. You can't be letting him just spout this shit off. You need to interrupt him.
And said that some gang was after him. So after he's been here,
He is fucking shotgunning it. Oh, that's why he did it. Wait, there's a side plot going on here that we all fucking missed. Why are you doing this? Let's watch the side plot.
Donald Trump said it numerous times.
let me instruct
J.D.
you what they
Vance
said
it numerous
specific.
times.
So for those who don't know, Kilmar Grayo Garcia
Watch
was
him.
an illegal that was here that bullshitted to get a claim that he couldn't be sent back to his own country because he was selling fucking taquitos or some bullshit when he was 13 years old in his country of origin and said that some gang was after him. So after he's been here 9 years,
I think Rob is just saying no. I think he's implying the story is bullshit. No, he said that it's like some made up story. So it's not just that taquitos. I think it's fuck. I can never pronounce it. Papusas? I think they're papusas, right? Papusas.
and he gets deported, which he had a lawful order of deportation, but the paperwork got fucked up and they weren't supposed to deport him back to his home country. Of course, when they
AKA illegal, right? And you should stop there, right? Tom should stop and be like, so when you say paperwork, do you mean illegal? You concede it's illegal, don't you, Rob? Yes or no? You gotta hit him there.
generously offered to send him to other fucking places like El Salvador. He didn't care for that either. So we were told that we had to stay here because this guy had some fucking nebulous claim. What happened was once he was
Some nebulous claim. And you said, wait, Rob, have you read the judge's order on his withholding order? Have you read it, Rob? Yes or no? So how do you know it's a nebulous claim? You just said it's nebulous. What do you mean by nebulous? It's like all of these, there's like very great opportunities to interrupt the flow, to actually quiz him on his area of knowledge here, and to win this standoff. Do what he's doing to you, or he's like questioning you on like statistics about the amount of times there have been broad daylight kidnappings in the middle of stores. Start doing that with respect to his claims.
reported to El Salvador, right? The United States said that it is now no longer a legal matter in the United States that could be affected by our courts to force the country of El Salvador to have to release someone that they had in.
Really? Because the Supreme Court ordered them to facilitate the return of Kilmar Barrio Garcia. So it sounds like the court did have jurisdiction. 9-0. That should be the next thing out of Tom's mouth.
Prison. That becomes more than just a matter for the legal system in the United States. And that's why the Trump administration was saying, look.
So why did the Supreme Court, who was appointed, 3 of them from, it's a conservative majority, why did they say 9-0 that the court did have jurisdiction? And that they ordered the facilitation of his return? If they didn't have jurisdiction, why were they able to order that, the Supreme Court? This needs to be interruption, bro.
We suggested that we could possibly bring him back, but we're not going out of our way to create an international incident by telling Bukele that he has to release this person, which he doesn't want to release.
This characterization is so fucking absurd. They were laughing about it. They weren't actually like, oh, we don't want to make an international incident. They were paying Bukele to hold him. And the minute they asked for him back to charge him with some charges in fucking, I think, Tennessee or wherever, they brought him back. This is an absurd narrative. You should be stopping him.
After much hullabaloo and political violence that we saw from the left, which once more proves that the violence from the left is something that they see as being effectual, then they decided to bring him back. All of this is a red.
So, wait. So, and there, on the violence point, you can say, wait, did you just say that Trump is acquiescing to political violence from the left? Did you just say that, Rob? You just said that they changed policy because of violence on the left. Did you say that? That they brought him back because the left was violent? Is that what you just said, Rob? Of course, none of this is being done. He's writing shit down. Should be an active listener and involved in the conversation.
Hearing anyways, because the fact that you might not like how long, for example, wasn't a lot of the charges of January 6 people overruled by courts? One of the specific charges they had?
You should, like, if he's pushing here and you don't know, you should be like, I don't know. The case is Fisher versus the United States. And this is a garbage narrative. Basically, one of the theories for some people, which is a vast minority of the people convicted and charged, they had to drop that obstruction charge because it didn't relate to the underlying documents under the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. That version where they edited the statute to make more open language. Of course, a bullshit opinion. I actually agree with Amy Coney Barrett in dissent. Justice Jackson with the majority. But if you don't know, you should just say, I don't know.
Before you answer that, I got one more super chat, and then I need a point of order. We got Captain Planet with $10 in one SB. Space Point, thanks so much for the donut. Tom, if you don't mind, or tech team.
Now one step back. Woo.
Thank you,
Sober.
I appreciate it. We like the enthusiasm. It's good. But if you don't mind, Tom, can you bring that mic? You're a quiet talker. I know. Just bring it close to you.
Asking you a question, Tom.
So before we go to the January 6th thing, I think you know your line when you talk about what it was that they were talking about, because Judge Dennis never, ever asked them to go send the military in to bring Abrego Garcia back or anything like that. But you're talking about.
He didn't say that.
some geopolitical catastrophe.
He's just talking about the incentive structure. He's wrong about this, obviously, and you should like counter what he actually is saying, right? What Rob is saying is the geopolitical situation complicated the assertion of jurisdiction of the Supreme Court or of the courts, federal courts, basically. It's I think an absurd view, and hopefully you can push him on some hypotheticals here. I think I got a whiff of that in the introduction and really push him to say some absurd shit. But he didn't say that the judge ordered the military to come in. And so you kind of look unhinged by saying that he did that. The question just becomes, would it be within the authority of the court to order such a thing? That's like one of the hypotheticals, but he did not claim that Judge Dennis actually ordered that.
That's going to happen when all they asked them to do was request him back. That's it. That's all they said to do.
They didn't even do that, Tom. They didn't ask, like, that's Tom. They didn't do that. They never ordered Trump to ask him to bring him back. That was starting to be briefed, and there was ongoing litigation before it was rendered moot by the fact that they brought him back, right? But they didn't actually order them to ask. That was what we were arguing about, is what facilitate meant and what it could include and what it couldn't include. So don't make these assertions. Tom.
Is request him back, and they said no. That is, so when you're making up this whole scenario of what they were actually talking about, you're lying. They refused to request him back.
He's lying / doesn't know / is, being slanting his distillation of the case, but not on the grounds that you said. I mean, he's not claiming that the judge actually ordered the military intervention.
You just said there wasn't contradictory to what I said. For example, if the United States requests that Russia does something, is that a diplomatic act?
Sure, but
This is what I brought up to Rob when I was talking about this case. Is I brought up Russia examples. So Rob is learning from me. This is one of the reasons I think he talks to me, is because I am fair and balanced, and I will sometimes bring up, like, this is a complicated issue of the extent to which Article 3 includes the power to compel the president. Like, let's say, Brittany Griner is being held in Russia based on some violation of U.S. law. Would the court be able to order the president to do something about that?
Real quick, can that diplomatic act have political ramifications?
possibly.
Okay,
sure.
so then should a court in the United States be able to demand that President Trump demand anything of Russia?
If
He should say it depends.
Donald Trump is paying for people to be housed in a
So this is a good instinct. He should say, if it's under the constructive custody of the United States government, of course. In your example in Russia, presumably they wouldn't be under the constructive custody of the United States government. Here, there could be some tough cases, edge cases, where there'd be questions on the court's overall authority to order such a thing. But when it's under the constructive custody of the United States, they shouldn't be able to outsource their government functions as a way to escape enforcement of the law. Like hire some foreign government to do all their functions to avoid the Constitution. That would lead to absurd results. Here are some examples. Can you imagine if this, that, or the third?
prison. He is paying for this country to hold them in seat.
So a good instinct to drill down on like what the distinction would be, but I think you should summarize that distinction at a higher level of abstraction before you get into the minutia to guide the audience a little bit. Because now, to someone who isn't like I know why he's saying this, right? And if you watch my stream, you probably know why he's saying that. I think it's relevant from both a legal and from an ethical perspective. But to the audience who's like maybe not aware of this case, or maybe just hasn't like read some of the briefing, or has an understanding of like that issue, that jurisdictional issue, it just sounds like he's spouting off facts, but not necessarily tying the relevance of those facts to the legal analysis, because this has now become a legal argument.
Then yes, he has the ability to make demands for what it is he is and our taxpayer dollars are paying for. Of
Okay,
course.
real quick then, based on that, when Coach Red Pill's fucking killed by these shithead Ukrainians over there, right? And we're paying you.
Prove it. Prove he was killed by Ukrainians. So when you die in the custody, you're killed by that government, correct? So you admit that, I guess he'd probably grant this. Jeffrey Epstein was killed by Trump, right? He was killed by U.S. government because he died in custody? So you should interrupt him there.
And based on that, when Coach Red Pill's fucking killed by these shithead Ukrainians over there, right? And we're paying Ukraine all this money, could a right-wing judge have demanded that Joe Biden demand the release of Coach Red Pill?
Are they?
You should stick to your guns and say, if they are under the constructive custody of the United States, and if there was a violation of U.S. law, then yeah, of course. Or, maybe not specifically the demand, but to order the facilitation of his return through some other means. But you should just bite the bullet there. You have a framework. Trust the framework. Trust the framework that you're putting out, which is there could be some hard case that you're mentioning here where it's under the Ukrainian authority and the U.S. doesn't have, even though they have some kind of diplomatic influence over this place, the Ukrainians are not acting as U.S. agents in enforcing U.S. immigration law or U.S. whatever law. That's what's happening with the Salvadorians. That's not happening in the Ukraine case. The Ukrainians are acting as Ukrainians enforcing Ukrainian law in their own way in Ukraine, as opposed to the Salvadorans enforcing U.S. immigration law in El Salvador under the constructive control of the U.S. government. So you have that framework, Tom. Trust it. Really trust it. You need to be able to think quick. And that's why it's helpful to have a more abstract and I think a legal grounding on some of these things. Because if you have a framework or an approach, a methodological approach to how you deal with these kinds of issues, you can lean on that framework. Okay, there could be some hard cases I could imagine. Maybe this would be a little different. That's maybe a harder case because this, and this. But what I'm really looking for is outsourcing of U.S. government enforcement of U.S. law under complete U.S. control. Not at issue here. You can find me a case where I wouldn't be sure, but this is a clear case. And just because you can have edge cases doesn't mean that there's not a clear rule. We do this with the First Amendment, equal protection. There could be some edge cases where reasonable minds can disagree. This is not one in which reasonable minds can disagree. That's you need to have an approach, and then you can be confident in that.
Paying for him to be housed somewhere
for the entire fucking existence.
That's
of
not
the
the same
country.
thing. We're literally paying for people to be housed in CCOT. It's not relevant. You don't think it is. You don't think it is either. I know you don't think that's ridiculous.
That says, well, if you're paying for the housing of criminals, then you're allowed to have judges influence international.
And you need to understand here the foundation here. Like it doesn't need to be a statute, right? The notion of the extraterritoriality of the jurisdiction of the U.S. courts and the U.S. jurisdiction, that is a live issue in the courts, and it's one that relates to constitutional principles that aren't necessarily statutes. And so just because not everything can be a bright line rule, one of the problems intellectually with Rob is he's only willing to have arguments where they're bright line rules, right? So it's like either you admit that Hillary Clinton mishandled national defense information to the same extent that Trump did, or that we and therefore they should both go to jail for it, or we don't enforce it at all, right? Everything tangentially related to the similar thing, they're all the same thing. They're all the same. And so he's a very on or off, formalistic, bright line rule guy. And you got to call him on that. Be like, listen, dude, not every legal principle creates a bright line rule, dipshit. That's what we have courts for, to adjudicate these edge cases, but also the easy cases. And so I wouldn't need to point you to a specific fucking statute to talk about the territoriality of the Constitution and the court's equitable authority. It's your claim that the U.S. Constitution turns off outside of the geographic boundary of the territorial United States. Where are you drawing that principle from? And here's a case where the court has recognized this or that. It's not a particular statute that says if you're paying for X, Y, Z. It's a deeper constitutional principle about whether or not you're in the U.S. custody. And this is the same kind of thinking, by the way. Like, aren't you a critic of Guantanamo Bay? So you think it would conceivably be legal for the United States to just start sending Americans over to, or that the court would be without remedy if the U.S. just started sending political prisoners to Guantanamo Bay and executing them there because the court can't order them to stop? And if there was an execution pending in Guantanamo, court can't order it there because you're on the island of Cuba. And Tom should be making the most of this. I mean, this is really just a fucking ridiculous position.
Policy. Show me the law.
All right, let him answer. Go ahead, Tom.
It is that we have the ability. So if we're saying, hey, we'll pay you to house this person, and then we say, hey, we want them back.
He's asking for the legal doctrine, Tom, where that would be. He's asking about the relevance, not about the technical ability, because the actual power, right? The actual power as opposed to the lawful power, right? What he's saying about Ukraine, you're gonna have to grant, right? If the U.S. government really wanted this Coach Red Pill guy, could they get him back? Answer, yes. So he's asking, there's an equivalence there, almost certainly, right? That if U.S. really wanted Coach Red Pill back, they could get him back. There's an equivalence there. Now, why they didn't ask for him back, you can give a bunch of different reasons for it. But it does seem like the U.S. was able to extract mining deals out of fucking Ukraine when Trump's in office. They're bankrolling their war effort. They're going to give over this fucking guy to the Americans to keep him happy. Okay? So don't fight him on the actual ability to make certain moves, right? U.S. has a lot of power to influence a lot of different actors. That can't be the legal principle of relevance here. But keeping going down, well, they're paying them. That, I think, is not a wise one. You should think about some other difference of legal relevance. He's really asking for why it's legally relevant, this distinction. And you should have a better answer than just drilling down on the specifics of the payment structure. He's asking not for you to detail that. He's asking why is that relevant, not what it is.
assume for a second that there's a
And just because Tom thinks it's different doesn't mean it is different.
world where he says no, because I don't see that happening. Let's assume.
Go ahead. Finish out, and then I'm going to say something.
And we say, okay, well then we're not paying for you to house that person anymore. You think they're going to give him back to us now that they're not getting paid for him anymore?
Before you answer, I apologize. Super chat once again.
I think Ukraine would give it. I don't even think America would need to apply much pressure at all to get this guy back.
Thank you, man. This Tom absolutely dominating.
And I think you just need to, stick to the framework.
Go ahead, bro.
If you have
It
one.
has no ability to determine the legality of it, whether or not they would acquiesce. If Donald Trump told fucking Zimbabwe, you're going to release 5 random prisoners or we're going to bomb the shit out of you, yeah, I suppose they would acquiesce as well. That's irrelevant.
Yeah, that's what I just said. But yeah, he needs to explain why it's legally relevant to the court's jurisdiction, because the practical ability to do something is true of like all, because America just is like the strongest power and has a ton of different influence. So the debate topic has been completely essentially, yeah.
To whether or not the courts have the right to tell Trump that he needs to do something foreign policy. By the same token,
The thing is,
Donald Trump
the debate topic is boring because the actual way to resolve this issue is to do some kind of like rigorous academic debate on the number of cases and incidents, and no one wants to do that fucking work. And so, and Rob starts by saying, we all know it, because he lists off cases that he's familiar with, but the debate is boring. It's a debate on the issues related to like empirical shit and defining what is meant by the left or right. Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares in this context to do that? I don't want to fucking do the empirical analysis. Miss me with that.
have said, hey, we're not going to send you any more money, Ukraine, unless you or Joe Biden would have said, unless you release Coach Redfield. Do you think they would have?
Well,
That's simple, yes, no.
Yes, answer. Of course they would.
I don't know anything about the Coach Redfield.
You don't know? Come on, man. Just assume it's anybody. Assume it's fucking, I don't know, some guy who stole from Ukraine. Or someone like, yeah, we want him back. We want to charge him here. They would do it.
Bullshit. If there's a guy who's an American citizen that's detained in Ukraine, if Joe Biden says no more fucking money for your...
You just got to bite bullets. I mean, I think so many people, but not the wrong bullets. You need to bite the obvious bullets. I have this feeling I have when I'm like interacting with a lot of people. It's like they don't want to give ground on anything. They don't want to grant me anything. Even some like obvious fucking truism, which I'm just using to set up something up or to have some baseline of understanding. Like you would agree it would be ridiculous, right? That if they and just grant Rob's point here. But I just don't think he's confident in having a foundation for this distinction from a legal perspective.
Country, unless you release him to us, you don't think they would have?
Yeah, but
oh yes, and then he pounces. Yeah,
that would no, because you're
right.
Rob,
because
seriously,
it's irrelevant.
No, it's not irrelevant. Seriously, you think paying like what a couple thousand per person is relevant to like a couple $100 billion per for one person? You think that's actually the same thing?
Couple billion per person? What the fuck are you talking about? A couple billion per person? They're not paying El Salvador billions of dollars for this. It's like millions, and they're not paying billions of dollars per prisoner. I don't even understand Tom's point here.
Right,
Rob,
because
seriously,
it's irrelevant.
No, it's not irrelevant. Seriously, you think paying like what a couple thousand per person is relevant to like a couple $100 billion per person?
Is relevant to a couple $100 billion per person? I don't. Does anyone know 100 billion per person? Wait, he must be meaning million, but even that's like I think way more.
I think paying like what a couple thousand per person is relevant to like a couple $100 billion for one person. You think that's actually the same?
Couple $100 billion for one person? I don't even understand the question. You think it's do you think one set of payments is relevant to another set of payments? I don't even know what that means.
Same thing.
There's
real quick, because when it comes to like, if we say that Joe Biden during the election just decided to deport Donald Trump, the idea is as long as he got him out of the country before anybody could stop him, now we can't request him back and we put him in a prison somewhere, and it doesn't matter whether
request. What we said is that the courts cannot tell a district court cannot tell the president. You have to do this.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And so I'm saying that yes, if we deport Donald Trump and we put him
Yeah, you need a legal. This is unfortunately a legal argument, and just saying they can, like you could be saying they should be able to, right? So if you don't have confidence on the law, just be like, I'm pretty sure that I'm correct legally. I'm not a lawyer, but even if they can't legally, they should be able to. And just be like, I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court agreed with me. That's all you need. If you're not confident in that moment, that distinction, just be like, I'm pretty sure there's a distinction. Right now, as I sit here, I don't remember the ruling, but I think this is a distinction that matters. And even if it weren't legal, I think the Supreme Court's with me. It should be. Do you think that it should be the case? Like, that's what I mean. You need to give yourself an out here, but this unfortunately is a legal argument. And if it's not one that you're prepared to have, you know, he's just going to play 20 questions.
And see, Kai, before the election, now you're saying no judge could have told Joe Biden, you have to bring Donald Trump back.
That is
that bullet point.
That is insane.
That is what I'm saying. I suppose big heroes like you would go get those plainclothes people that deported Trump and use your firearm.
I would expect if Joe Biden did something illegal.
And no, you need to just keep upping the ante and saying, okay, so let's say that Biden announces a policy, and he just starts capturing people and throwing them to Guantanamo to execute them, and he's using Cubans to do it. Could he make an order? Could the district court order them to stop the executions that are happening under the U.S. authority? Like, you just need to up the hatchet, like up the ante, like one more level to make him look like an insane lunatic. Yeah, folks, getting late. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if we we'll be finishing it. I will. I'll see what content we have. I might want to go over some other legal news and shit. Maybe go over some redistricting things, some legal developments. We'll see. But I'll probably see you tomorrow. So far, Tom, gotta say, it's a bad showing. I think Rob has taken command of the conversation. He's extracted a concession before even talking, and it's been the Rob show the whole time. Emphatic performance so far, even though I disagree, obviously, with what Rob is saying, and I think he's lying and misconstruing stuff. But Tom, we gotta make some changes. But love you guys very much. Hey, like the stream. Funny little meme when you like the stream. Funny little thing that you do when you do it. And I appreciate you guys very much. Stay cool. Tom is fair. Tom is good. We love Tom. Have a good one.